Mr. President,
thank you. Are you considering
drafting an executive order to extend FISA or to continue using Section
Well, the
702?
Congress wants me to do it, and let's see what happens there right now.
Republican leadership wants you to do it.
I put out a statement, sure. It's
Do you
very
think you have
important.
the
It's
executive-
very important for our military. Yeah.
Mr. President, on the Safe America Act, you're now urging Republicans to add that to this third reconciliation bill.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on why election integrity matters so much for national security from your perspective?
Well, we
as the
need it for
commander-in-chief?
our elections. We need to have voter identification, which you don't have right now, on a national basis. We need it for, and the voter ID is very important. We need it for proof of citizenship. Do you believe it? The Democrats are fighting. They don't want you to prove your citizenship when you vote. You know why they want that? Because they cheat. And we also want it with mail-in voting, where you have people that are sent 7, 8 ballots, 2 ballots, 4 ballots, and a lot of them sign those ballots, mail-in voting, and we want to be very judicious. If you're in the military and you're far away, or if you're handicapped, or if you're sick, or if you're on vacation, that you have but you're not going to, millions and millions, look at California, they send out millions of ballots, tens of millions, they have no idea what's going on. Those elections are so corrupt, so we have a mail-in ballot, then we have no men, and we had 2 more, no men in women's sports. We're talking about saving America, right? No men in women's sports, another one, very popular. I think it's 99-1. They say it's 80-20. I think it's 99-1. And we have no mutilization of your children for transgender purposes. So it's the transgender mutilization of your children. Does that sound good with you guys, generally speaking? You're not into transgender mutilization of
Not
your
at all.
child, right?
Not at all, sir.
Where your child leaves your house and they take your child from you. In some cases, think of it, in 6 states, they take the child and do what they want to do. What they do is I don't even want to talk about it. We add that no transgender mutilization of your children.
On DNI, Mr. President, do you intend to
I'm going to cut out of this right now. They were mainly asking questions about Iran, where the president is saying we have a deal at this point, and he has called off the military action for tonight where Carg was supposed to be involved. And that's just breaking. That is just wrapping up. He actually had a rather long event with, and there was even a discussion about fishermen versus fisherwomen, believe it or not. And,
or just fishers.
Yeah, that he didn't like that, right? Let's not go. But the fisher women they don't mind being called fishermen because they feel like they're as tough as the men. That was the answer. That was my takeaway, Fred. Sue, I don't know if you heard that part.
I did not.
That was a little earlier in the 2 o'clock. And so he was doing this event with all the people behind him like he usually does. And he opens it up to questions. And then, obviously a lot of stuff focused on Iran. And that FISA bill, you heard one question there. This is outrageous because, look, even conservatives, libertarians have some issues with the FISA court and the way that it operates. But we got the World Cup starting right now. And there was an effort in the House by the Speaker for, first of all, the House passed something to deal with that, an extension anyway, and it's sitting over there in the Senate. But then he tries to do something today just to get a 3-week extension, considering the moment that we're having in the country, and that wasn't good. No, not one Democrat voted for it. So I'm sure we're going to hear about that a little bit more in the next couple of days as well. Hi, Sue. How are you? I haven't even had a chance to say hello this afternoon. Fred's here as well. We're getting going. We're down Ethan today. Daniel's pinch hitting. Ethan's going to be gone for a couple of days. And we hope he enjoys himself, but not too much, right? How about that basketball game last night? I mean, I got to tell you that I've been getting into the NHL Finals. You got Game 5 of that tonight between the Golden Knights and the Hurricanes. So I'm watching the game, Fred, and the Cardinals are playing last night, and so was the Congressional Baseball game, right? So I mainly had the Congressional Baseball game on because, Sue, the Republicans were doing so well, and Eric Schmitt made this unreal catch.
Oh, he did? Oh, good.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Okay, I'll get back to that here in a second. But, the night is full of sports, and I turn on, after the Congressional Baseball game wrapped up, it was relatively early. All right, turning on the Knicks, and they're just getting killed by the Spurs. It was
They were down
24.
29.
I was watching, it was 24 points, okay? So then I knew it got to 29, and I'm like, okay, this is over. Oh, my God. So I start watching something else, and Becky was upstairs, and she comes down to let the dogs out. She goes, did you turn the game back on? I'm like, why would I? She goes, you better turn it on. And there were only, I think when I turned it on, it was like a minute 6 left or something like that. But the end of that game was crazy. I mean, how do you blow? And this happens. This Knicks story is really incredible. If they don't win this thing now, but that goes back to San Antonio, and they're certainly good. They should have won that game. I mean, the Knicks fans went crazy. Larry David, Seinfeld, all these people are there. They're hugging one another. Some people are criticizing Taylor because Tay was there as well with the Haim sisters. I love the Haim sisters. They're from L.A., which I don't really understand why they're Knicks fans. Because the Haim sisters are L.A., and I don't know why Taylor would be a Knicks fan.
I didn't know who they were. I'm glad you just told me.
So the Haim sisters are great. Haim is a band, 3 Jewish sisters from L.A. They've been acting. They've been in Paul Thomas Anderson did a movie years ago that they starred in, but they're my favorites. They're amazing. And they've only been to St. Louis a couple of times, but I love those girls so much. And their latest album came out a year ago. It's outstanding. But anyway, we'll track all that stuff. We have Curtis Houck coming up here. I still have some thoughts on Scott Pelley. We have Missouri Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick here. We mentioned this yesterday. There were a couple of things that are very interesting. One, he is warning the state that we are running out of money, and he needs the governor to take out the veto pen on some of the budgeting that the legislature did. And then this Francis Howell School District handling of the vetting and the contract of this former superintendent, Mike Dominguez, who never even started working there, and they ended up paying him $250,000 for not doing a damn thing. So that's an awesome hire. And they all signed NDAs, so this is not acceptable to me. And I don't know if Scott's the right person to ask this question to, but there should be transparency and accountability. If I'm in the Francis Howell School District and I have a student, or even if I'm just a taxpayer and I don't have a kid in that district, I want to know the details of how you hire a guy that has typos on his application and doesn't have any references from his previous job, and you hire and you spend money on a consultant firm, and then they all kind of go, in the back room and they sign the deal and they do the NDAs. No. That's not good enough. I mean, every one of those people on that board, I don't care the circumstances, they should be kicked off because you're supposed to have information that you can share with your constituents, and that is just a big, big cowardly move on the part of that school board. It really is.
This is something about working with kids.
It's outrageous.
I mean, I can't think of another scenario where it's more important.
But think about what we've been through in just this area, okay? So you look at SLPS with that disaster and that superintendent. But here's the thing. Fred, I haven't checked this. We should check this. I would almost bet you that this Mike Dominguez guy, who was the guy that they hired in Francis House, this goes back to last summer, right? Now it's all coming out because there were Freedom of Information Acts and stuff like that. I bet the dude has a sweet gig making about $250, $300 right now somewhere, right? Because these school superintendents, I don't want to compare it to the Catholic Church, okay? But let me, for a moment, what happens here, it's not nearly as felonious and devastating as the pre-scandal, but it's similar in this way. You can completely suck at your job as a school superintendent. I mean completely suck, and still get another job that might be even better than the one you had. Where does that happen? And that's the taxpayers are paying for that. You want to do that in any other business, I don't really care. And I don't really criticize golden parachutes and all that stuff. If someone's performed and they've turned a company around and there's profit involved, but this is taxpayer money.
Right.
Unacceptable.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are working with an accident on southbound 170, and it's just south of Forest Park Parkway. They've got only one right lane getting by. I just posted it on X at Susan6768 if you want to see what I'm talking about. And there is a jam behind that. Now, other than that, it's been moderate volume westbound 70, Jennings Station Road, a little bit 141 out across the Blanchette Bridge, that sort of thing, but nothing too terrible. 64 is Hampton out through McCausland. Moderate volume at 270 and past Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 270, moderate volume south of Page down through Doherty Ferry. And of course, the construction on the Illinois side, 5564 at 3rd Street, causing delays there. 64 eastbound slowing at 255. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
termites cause $5 billion in damage to homes and businesses in the U.S. every year. Call Point Pest Control now at 636-798-0023 and reclaim your space from unwanted pests. That's 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
I talk about my friends in Granite City at Mastercars Inc. quite a bit. I was thrilled to learn recently, when I say recently, in the past couple of weeks, that my former producer, we call him Producer Emeritus David Klein, who is still a good friend. He's got a big family, got 4 kids, and his wife, he needs a big vehicle. Mastercars found a beautiful Chevy Suburban with some miles on it. You know, those are expensive vehicles, but if you get one from Mastercars, used cars, new car caliber, they're going to make sure that that car is vetted exceptionally well. They won't put you into a vehicle that, you know, you won't be happy with, or that they won't be proud, you know, to put their seal on. Now, they have a lot of cool vehicles on the lot. I got to tell you something. This is really neat. I want Sue to see this one, too. This is a 1990 Jeep Grand Wagoneer 4x4 V8. Look at that thing.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
it looks like
awesome.
it's out of the 70s, doesn't
It's like
it?
that, with the wood stuff, the wood paneling, fake
Yeah,
stuff on the
so-
side. That's awesome.
All right, now that thing's got 216,000 miles on it, right? So they have cars like that. They have classic cars. They have Corvettes. They have Harleys. But they can find you, and they have on the lot your everyday car as well. So use them as your car resource. They're awesome. Mastercars Inc. in Granite City at mastercarsinc.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, I was busy showing Sue a visual here
Yes.
that I want to talk about, and I'm going
Dang.
to welcome my guest, Curtis Houck, into the fray from Media Research Center and Newsbusters. How are you this afternoon?
Hey, good to be with you, my friend.
I want to do something here.
Absolutely.
I didn't get a chance because I went to the president. He was live in the White House, and I had some of the Q&A at the beginning of the show. And I don't know if you saw this, but this was amazing. My colleague, Sue Thomas, here had not seen this yet. So as you probably know, Curtis, the congressional baseball game was last night at Nat Stadium. And they raised, by the way, $3.1 million for children's charities. And, you know, they had a great crowd out there. Our United States Senator Eric Schmitt, one of them, was in left field. He's been kind of an all-star for the team, and he made this amazing catch. Did you by any chance catch it, Curtis?
Of course I did.
Okay, all right. So I
Absolutely.
want Eric's going to join us a little after 4, but I want to play Sue what happened here. I just showed her the catch. Here's the play-by-play.
That one struck to left field, and what a dive! Oh, what a great
Eric
play!
Schmitt
Amazing catch. The Redbirds would be proud of a play like that.
No doubt about that. So then what happens is, and I said it, Curtis, at the time, I'm texting some folks, including my friend Scott Jennings, and we all say, if we had a fair media world, that would be on SportsCenter. And we just thought because he's a Republican and not a Democrat, that it might not. But look at this top 5.
Baseball? Oh, okay. Are we talking politics here? Republicans versus Democrats. That's Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt. Show me something
What is
from the
happening?
show me state. Schmitt laying out to make the. That's my senator.
Oh.
That's my senator.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but you learn something new every day.
So I don't know who the anchor was, but he obviously has some connections to Missouri. But the other person had no idea that the congressional baseball game was like a deal, and the Republicans smoked the Democrats last night. Curtis, it was so much fun to watch.
This is a huge thing in Washington. Someone asked me this last night, is this a really big deal? And I said, oh, man, in Washington, in swampland, GOP, Democrat, this is a huge, social gathering. I have never gone myself because I've either been working the night shift or last night I was like, I'm going to a Bible study, then going home. But it is a huge party networking event. All the bars around Nats Park are open and flooded with people. It's like a Nationals game, except it's actually fairly well attended.
It's better attended than the Nationals game. I was actually I was at the game in 2016. I can't believe it was that long ago, and the Republicans broke a long streak from the Democrats. But when Senator Schmitt was on yesterday, he was nice enough to join me with a preview. He reminded me that in all likelihood, because he's the nominee for the 21st Congressional District in Texas, that Mark Teixeira was I think he might be a Hall of Famer, right? He's going to be
close
on
to it, yeah.
He was a first baseman with the Yankees for a long time, and other teams. He was with the Braves and the Angels, and he's a 3-time All-Star, World Series champion. He's going to be on the Republican team. They'll be unbeatable when Teixeira is in that lineup, I think.
Well, the same thing, obviously a much larger scale, the Democrats. The reason, Mark, that the Democrats had won for so many years as well.
Cedric Richmond.
And then after in 2016, yes, they had Cedric Richmond pitching because he had played growing up. So he was really able to kind of
he was
mix
great.
things up.
He was unhittable. That's, in that game that I saw them win, he kind of fell apart, and it was one of those last appearances, I think, for him. But it was a lot of fun last night. I'm going to talk with Senator Schmitt coming up here after 4 o'clock. We talked about Scott Pelley a little bit last week, but this whole thing with him using this word murder is quite something. Let me replay this one from the other day.
Well, if we want to talk about it at an emotional level, the best thing that I can imagine in terms of describing it is that it's like your spouse was murdered. I do want to be clear that I do not feel sorry for me. I don't care about me. I'm fine. I care about these people that I left behind.
Okay. First of all, he does care about himself, and I think that's all he cares about. But to use this word murder, and that's like the murder of a spouse, any respect that somebody might have had for Scott Pelley should have been removed in the last week after his firing because he's embarrassed himself thoroughly.
Absolutely. Then he goes on to say that the people that I left behind who are, quote, still trapped. And then he explained this was the depth of my devotion, which is, I don't even know where to start with this, how horribly offensive and insensitive this guy is. Then for Leslie Stahl to come out and say, this has been the worst experience I've ever been involved in or even witnessed, which I think is also a very tone-deaf statement considering Leslie Stahl at 84 years old. She's lived through a lot of different things in American history and covered a lot of different things in American history. And she's always lived in D.C. or New York. So depending on where she was on 9/11, there's that too as well. These people love themselves so very much, Mark. I've been reading Scott Pelley's little stupid book. It's called Truth Worth Telling.
Yeah.
A reporter's search for meaning in the stories of our times. It is so – Scott Pelley is like if Jim Acosta and Brian Williams were like – one of them was female and they had a baby, because that's what we're dealing with. The pomposity and the arrogance of Scott Pelley or Jim Acosta and the wannabe supposed war hero character
Brian Williams,
of Brian
yeah.
Williams rolled into one.
I'm never like, look, he was the chief White House correspondent for a long time. It's funny because I've heard some people tell stories, even going back decades, about Scott Pelley and his arrogance. But to act like, this is my other favorite thing, to say to that New York Times reporter last weekend that he didn't think that he would be fired after going into that meeting doing what he did. And he even said, well, some reporter I am. Yeah, I think that should zero out any credibility. But let's talk about Leslie Stahl and the people that are left, because, and I am worried. Here's what I would say. I don't know if this is going to be something that Barry can withstand, because there's such internal pushback. And I'm not so sure that she hasn't made some mistakes, although it's hard to tell what the truth is, because, look, they said they invited him to go out to dinner. He turned that down. I think he's lied about some of the things that have happened, but she stepped into it so much here that there's got to be a way to kind of bring people together, the people that are going to stay, and she's up against it there, Curtis, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, I think the letter that Leslie Stahl wrote with Bill Whitaker and John Wertheim was absolutely insane. They basically held a gun to the heads of their bosses. Puck, Still, and Byers had a draft that they didn't send that had referred to their bosses as overlords across the street, and said that Barry and Nick Bilton have been engaged in callous and chilling behavior. And they also had planned to say in a draft that their colleagues were expelled because they fought for our 60 Minutes values and stood up to protect our independence and integrity. And then, of course, they also said what Barry and Nick did was chop her or his head off for speaking up. I mean, obviously, it's proverbial. It's a turn of phrase. But, I mean, with this violent imagery that these folks keep using, and there's no divine right for any of us to have any of the jobs that we have.
Well, they close that, by the way.
To.
They say we're staying for our teams and all the teams. We work for you guys. The thought of abandoning you became unbearable. Well, they don't work for them. They work for the company and the corporation, and they have to perform, and they have to have an audience, and they have to have profit, and they have to do and kind of buy into the vision that the bosses have. I've been in this business, essentially since I was 15 years old. I've seen a lot of back and forth. I've been told that I've had to do things and shift because my bosses have wanted that. That's kind of how it works in the world. But they think, and if you read this letter that you referred to, it was the email, that they're untouchable, that all the people are, and they're the heroes now. Bill Whitaker and Leslie and this other guy that I really don't know much about. But Bill Whitaker is one of the worst offenders in the journalistic malpractice department, and we have a great example of that from St. Louis. So I don't really care if they stay or go. I just think that in order to get CBS News back on track, there are going to be people that are going to consistently try to become martyrs like Scott Pelley, right? Even today, we had something, you posted something from the CBS Early Morning News where they did this Carmelo Anthony story, and they called, they didn't even correct the fact that it was an all-white jury. It wasn't an all-white jury. There were Asians, there were Hispanics, there were people of color on that jury. There weren't African Americans. They got struck, but that was a lie.
Yeah, they spent 6 minutes last week as well promoting Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox had a novel that came out talking about, how difficult it is to be a trans person. We find it so touching that you've overcome all these problems and discrimination in this country. And yet we're supposed to think this is MAGA TV. So you between that and the Carmelo Anthony's parents being given free reign to say all these things without any sort of fact checking just completely blows up what the media class is reporting. And you're right about Barry having an uphill climb, Mark, because the drip, 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 the anonymous sources. Now, in a normal world, in any other profession, if you don't like the bosses and you have an industry with multiple companies, so to speak, that do the same things that you're currently doing, you could maybe try that and find a job somewhere else. But what we've seen at CNN with Chris Licht and what we've seen here is people are saying, no, we're going to stay here and we're going to leak, and just say all kinds of hideous things under the guise of being an anonymous source.
Right. That's
for
what they're
our
going to do.
Friends in the media reporting class, Jeremy Barr, Oliver Darcy, Brian Stelter,
Right.
Brian Steinberg at Variety, and so on and so forth. And it's just so childish. It's so pathetic. No other profession kind of operates this way.
No. They don't. You're right.
Insubordination should be seen as a hero. These people are like the captains of their souls, that they believe that they are the main character. And I think I used this with you last week, but Star Wars fans out there, Emperor Palpatine, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith says, I am the Senate. These people say, I am the media. I am the First Amendment, when it's actually, they talk about working for us. Maybe they should respect us, the people, but they don't view us in such high regard.
On the Carmelo Anthony front, I mean, I think Fox was the only media entity in the whole country that actually talked about that case from the parent perspective of Austin Metcalf, not the killer. It's unreal. Some of the coverage of that has just been, I guess we should expect it, from Mike Brown to George Floyd to this. Curtis Houck, thanks for coming on. You have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Talk soon, my
friend.
All
right, we'll see you.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good news. Crews have cleared the accident southbound 170. And this one was just south of Forest Park Parkway. That should start thinning out quickly. Westbound 70 out of downtown is fine. A little bit slow past the airport. And really not bad to the west. 64 is a slow go. It's mainly at Clayton Skinker. There's a slow pocket at Boone's Crossing. Then things open up and really don't slow again until Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Now, southbound 270, it's moderate volume in pockets. Olive down through Doherty Ferry. Road work on the Illinois side causing delays. It bunches up. We've got 5570 with road work at 3rd Street causing delays there. And eastbound 64, slow approaching 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I think we're going to have Bob and Tammy Kershaw drop by a little bit later this afternoon, because we have another in a series of events with the Retirement Advisory Group, which comes up next Tuesday night. And these are free events. That's one thing I want you to know. You don't have to pay for anything, but we just need to know that you're going to show up. So the easiest way to do that is to go on to the website, which is retirementkey.com. It's right there on the front page. Register. And then the other thing that's up there is, if you don't feel comfortable in a group setting, or if you can't make it or something like that, next Tuesday night, go in right into the office one-on-one. Well, the event's going to be at the DoubleTree by Hilton off of Swingley Ridge Road in Chesterfield. Some of you who have followed these events over the years, we tended to do them at Plaza Fronic. We've moved a little further west. Same thing that's happening. Mark, Annie, and I kind of do a little meet and greet, and then Thomas and the team take over from there. And they do it relatively quickly. It's not a big time commitment. You're going to learn some things last night. You're going to find out why their clients have not lost a penny of their principal. So get on the horn with them at 314-993-9494, or register today at retirementkey.com. The official financial planners of this show, Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group.
It's not your typical game day look. Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals face the Miami Marlins, and fans can receive a soccer-style Cardinals jersey presented by Purina. Clean, sporty, and unmistakably Cardinals, it brings a fresh energy to the ballpark from first pitch on, and kids take home a vibrant Cardinals soccer ball to keep the action going long after the final out. 2 ways to play, one big Sunday. Get tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Take your lawn from good to great with my friends at Lawn Enforcement. I'm talking expert lawn care services to keep your lawn in order. And here's what they'll do for you. Anybody can mow your grass. At Lawn Enforcement, they want to enhance your property. They'll do the mowing and the trimming. They'll fertilize and implement a weed control program and erosion control, which includes retaining walls if you need it. They can landscape. They can design and install your flowers, your shrubs, your trees, all of your hardscapes. No project is too big or too small for my friends at Lawn Enforcement. You can check them out online at yourlawnenforcement.com. So instead of envying your neighbor's lawn. Your neighbors are going to be wishing they had the lawn and landscape that you have. Go ahead and enjoy your space. Be proud when you entertain your friends and your family. They've been in business for over 30 years. Be sure and tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to yourlawnenforcement.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Happy birthday, America, in 2026. Get used to hearing the word semi-quincentennial on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, Friday coming up very quickly. Thankfully, I'm all for that. On the roundtable tomorrow in the 3 o'clock hour, former State Senator John Lamping will be here. Ted House on the other side, Paul Hall with some entertainment recommendations as we start to get very close to the official start of summer. It is summer, let's face it, right? Cusimano tomorrow at 4:45. The Cardinals, by the way, lost today. Man, it was a tough one. They lost 5-4 in New York, but they did win that series. Also tomorrow, and Sue, you have a little insight here. Ed Wheatley's going to join us about his new book about the history of the baseball glove, and I think you're doing a podcast on that as well, right?
Yes, it is outstanding. It's an outstanding book, and Ed knows his stuff. It'll be great to hear
The
about
book
it.
looks so cool.
It's so.
I almost
so
stole it
beautiful.
from you because it was in your studio the other day. I'm like, I might take this, but then Ed's going to come in tomorrow, so maybe I get my own.
Okay, there you go.
We have the state auditor, Scott Fitzpatrick, on the line this afternoon. There's a couple of big stories that he's been talking about. Hello, Mr. Fitzpatrick. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I might be better than the state of Missouri in their fiscal condition because the first warning that you're issuing is you're saying Governor Kehoe, and I think this kind of becomes obvious when you look at the numbers, but he's got to really cut some spending because we're in a bit of a fiscal cliff. So I want you to explain that to the audience and what your role in that is and how this might move forward, because it's a constitutional responsibility to pass a balanced budget, but then when the numbers get off the keel, he's got to do something, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people have the misconception that we have a balanced budget amendment in our Constitution. Really what our Constitution does is it prevents us from borrowing money to fund ongoing obligations. So we have a fund balance. So if we have a year where revenues are not as much as we think they are, if we have money in the bank, we can use that to cover a shortfall.
Right.
In that sense, the budget's not necessarily balanced that year. But when you run out of money, you can't do that anymore. And that's the situation we're faced with right now. As we went through I kind of talk about the budget in terms of B, C, and AC, before COVID and after COVID.
Yeah.
And during COVID, the amount of money in the Treasury increased significantly, but also expenditures have gone up. Expenditures from the state general revenue fund have increased 52% over the last 5 years. Comparatively, inflation's up about 25% during that same period of time. So government has grown significantly. This is a spending problem. It's not a revenue problem. I've heard the Democrats blame it on tax cuts. Revenue has grown 43% over the last 5 years. So that's not a tax cutting problem. We've done that while we've cut taxes. We've grown revenue 43% during that period of time. But when spending at a government entity goes up by over 50% in 5 years, that's not a sustainable path to be on. Government should not be growing at twice the rate of inflation. And so it's just time to have a reckoning here, get expenditures back in line with revenues. It's going to not be fun, but essentially we put a report out at the end of the year that said, hey, we're on a path of a $2 billion deficit this year. We're spending $2 billion more than we're taking in. We need to reverse that trend. Unfortunately, the budget that was passed out this session actually increased expenditures instead of decreased them. And so this is really to put that information out there in the public sphere and encourage Governor Kehoe. Governor Kehoe is a smart guy. He's a great governor. Encourage him to take the steps now to start balancing the budget instead of waiting another year, because I think it's better to put the brakes on right now instead of going 100 miles an hour to a brick wall and crashing into it. We should maybe start slowing down now so we bump into it. And that's really what this report's about.
I think a lot of us are desensitized to the enormity that these numbers represent. But when you're talking about $1.7 billion in cuts, that still sounds like a lot of money that you got to slash out of the budget.
It is a lot of money, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. But again, we've increased spending by 52% over 5 years.
Yeah.
So to me, a lot of that money is, we're spending almost $1 billion more on K through 12 education now than we were 3 years ago, or actually 2 years ago. Fiscal year 2025 to fiscal year 2027, the budget was just passed. It was over $800 million of increases to K through 12, which represents about 20% increase to K through 12 over 2 years. And then we're also talking about massive increases in Medicaid expenditures. Medicaid expansion is now, it's time to pay the piper on that. That got put in the Constitution a couple years ago. The federal government picked up most of the tab for a while. This is the year where the state's going to have to start picking up a significant
We
piece of
knew
that cost.
that was going to happen, right? I remember doing shows on that, and people were predicting that was going to happen. One of the reasons that was a bad idea, and here we are.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that have been increased, and it's been a good run for a lot of entities that rely on state money to fund their operations. But it's not going to last forever, and I think everybody needs to understand that and needs to start preparing for that now. And the sooner we begin the path of moving back towards balancing revenues with expenditures, the less painful it's going to be for the people that are on the other end of the cuts.
Absolutely. State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick is with us. So this report that was released yesterday on the Francis Howell School District is quite something. I went through a lot of the details on the show yesterday. I mean, you basically have a superintendent that was hired that really never did any work, and in the end they paid him $250,000. They signed NDAs, so we don't know. We don't have transparency to find out everything that happened here. But how was your office involved, and what would you say are the key takeaways from this report?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. They hired a superintendent to work for them. He never worked for them. They paid him $250,000 to go away, and they signed essentially a settlement agreement that included non-disclosure provision. And our view of that is a few things. Number one, the board of Francis Howell School District hired a search firm to go find them a superintendent. They didn't really evaluate who they hired for the search firm. What they literally just decided to hire the firm that hired their last superintendent away from them without doing any due diligence on this firm's qualifications. And what ended up happening is the firm brought this individual to the board as a candidate for the superintendent position and didn't fully vet him, didn't figure out that at his previous place of employment in Garden City, Kansas, that his contract was terminated before it was supposed to be, and that there were concerns related to his conduct at that school district. And so what happened is they hired this guy. They didn't do a full vetting of him. They didn't vet the search firm that brought the candidate to them. And then they found out after the fact that there were some significant concerns related to his last employer that didn't come up. And then they made the decision that instead of following through and continuing on with this individual, they were going to separate from him. And in doing that, they had a decision to make of, do we fire him and just fire him for cause and move on, and maybe he sues us because he's threatening legal action, it sounded like, or do we pay him to go away? And they chose to pay him to go away and included a non-disclosure agreement in that. And so our takeaway is, next time you're hiring for a leadership role, number one, evaluate the people who you're hiring to do the searching for you, because if they're not doing a thorough vetting of these people, that's probably not a good firm to hire to do that work. And then number two, you, the board, are ultimately responsible for who you hired. Not asking the questions about why he separated from his last job prematurely and things like that is a failure on the board's part. And unfortunately, the board has taken the position that they did nothing wrong, right, and we disagree with that. And that's kind of the takeaway there.
So here's I wanted to emphasize this before I let you go. This is really incredible. If I'm in Francis Howell, I want answers and I want transparency. But they say, while the auditor may question the reasoning for the board's decision, it was within the board's purview and discretion to enter into an agreement that it felt was the best academic and financial district of the district. The board stands by this unanimous decision. To your point a couple of minutes ago, it sounded like they were worried about, other legal action and paying the lawyers. But still, I kind of want to know some of the answers. There was apparently a social media post that they flagged from May of last year that they were unaware of, and I guess that kind of goes back to the search firm. So nice job keeping on top of this. Scott Fitzpatrick, thank you for coming on and talking about the budget situation. I know you're running for re-election. I said yesterday, shame on Scott Fitzpatrick, because he's actually doing his job and concentrating on that. So I like the fact that you're doing that and you're not just out there playing politics. So good luck with the campaign and keep us posted.
Thanks, Mark.
All right,
Talk
take care.
Soon.
Yeah, look, I said that yesterday. He's doing his job,
yes,
and he's doing it well, I think, and he needs to be, recognized for that. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got westbound 6440 lined up near Kings Highway out through McCausland, a little bit at 270. And then out west from Highway N out through the 70 split. Now, eastbound 70 is a little slow east of Jennings Station Road. Westbound, some moderate volume past the airport and at Highway A. Southbound 270, it's mainly moderate volume here, but it's from Page down through Doherty Ferry. And we've got road work on the Illinois side causing delays. Eastbound 64 at 157, and then 5564 at 3rd Street, where a couple lanes are down, causing delays. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at The Factory at 971talk.com/events.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
If you replace an old system with a new system, your bills will go down. Promise you. The so-called high efficiency stuff only works if your house is efficient. I don't care about single stage, double stage, multi-stage, variable speed, blah, 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 and SEER ratings. How long can I keep the heat inside my house? And how long do I keep the heat outside? That's efficiencies. If you want an air conditioner that will cool your house in the heat of the day, and you want a furnace that will heat your house in the coldest of days, or you need a new furnace or air conditioner, you want common sense approach, no pressures, and just the probably, I would have to say with no bias, the best company I've ever seen. Are you ready? They have one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we'll have, coming off his MVP performance, he was co-MVP with Greg Steube, who pitched for the Republicans last night. The GOP wins 11-2 over the Democrats, but Senator Schmitt's going to join us real quick here after the top of the hour and before Sue's News. So that is coming up. I look forward to that. I found a really interesting piece, and, it's kind of along the lines of a lot of things we've seen in the post-COVID era, but a great piece by Ian Miller about the global failure of COVID mask mandates and some of the other things. It's really kind of jaw-dropping, some of the things that he's dug up. So that's coming up. We have Charles Lipson this afternoon. They have, the trial is underway, Sue, for the Palisades fire. And Brian Ping, our friend out in L.A. at Canix Radio, is going to join us. So I got a real quick story to tell, and I can't say any names here, but I just want to know what you would have done in a situation like this, or if anything's happened to other people who might be listening this afternoon. So I talked to a friend of mine this morning. We're just kind of catching up, and I've been doing this. I was in Vegas a few weeks ago, blah, blah, blah. Did I tell you about my dentist, my friend says? I said, no. Well, I go in, kind of have some regular work and stuff like that, and he's doing I think it was just a regular cleaning, and then you get your x-rays and stuff like that. And then comes back the dentist. Now, he had been going to a dentist, he said, for a long time. time, and that dentist sold the practice. So it's now in the hands of someone who's just a little bit, well, maybe a lot younger. So the dentist comes in and says, you got this molar back there. It's got a crown. There's, decay that's happening under that. I think the best thing to do, because what's going to happen is one of these days that's going to, break apart and you're going to be in a lot of pain. So proactively, we should probably do that and just redo the crown before. And I've had that happen too, where you've had to redo the crown. So he's like, yeah, we got to do what we got to do. So he goes through, gets the crown taken out. Everything's, the way it's supposed to be. And then I can't remember if he said he came back to the dentist or if it was on the same day. But the dentist comes down and he goes, I think he said, like, well, are we cool? Are we all done? I could like, well, hang on a second. I need to talk to you. So the dentist comes back in. He puts his hand on his arm and he goes, I did the wrong tooth.
Oh.
Now, the tooth he did was right in front of the other one. It also had a crown, right? But, like, what do you do? And, obviously, there's not going to be any charge or anything like that. Now, the friend that I'm referring to has a really, really dear, longtime friend of like 60 years who's a dentist on the East Coast. And he raised an interesting point. Okay, two things. He said, first of all, oh my, he said, I've never done that in like 50 years, right? He was a dentist for a long time. But he said, stick with that guy because he was honest.
Oh,
he goes,
true.
I bet there would be a lot of people. Think about it. You could have easily, ethically, you don't want to do that, but easily you could have said, look, that he'd never know. He would never know. If in the other crown, there was a crown on the other one. So I thought that was an interesting response. Because
that is an interesting
I might be, look, I'd be like, are you kidding me? But at least he came in and he's going to fix it and no charge. I just thought that was an interesting story. I've never really had anything like that. We hear stories every once in a while. These are even worse. Like when, someone operates.
Takes off the wrong limb.
Yeah. Or operates on the, that's not a good thing.
No.
But, one of my questions is, wouldn't the hygienist also kind of know they do all the numbers and stuff like that? And my friend said that he actually had that discussion with his friend in the East Coast. And that dentist said, look, I made it very clear from the very beginning with my staff, if you think I'm doing something that you're not comfortable with, if you think I'm doing something wrong, say something. Because, so it's just interesting. But at least the guy was honest. So
well, that's
I like that
interesting.
for sure. But wow, I can't even imagine what the response would be. And by the way, just I'm so glad I did. This is just a me thing, but I have to tell you because I think you know this about me, but I can be rather OCD from this perspective, and this is where it gets bad. If I'm looking for something, it could be a piece of clothing, right? Today it was a pair of sunglasses that I have some Oakley sunglasses. I need to replace some lenses, right? And I'm looking everywhere for these, and I'm just driving myself crazy doing it because I can't find it. I finally get here to work, and I'm like, I'm going to check this backpack one more time. And I didn't dig into the backpack enough. And I had them in Vegas. I knew I had them in Vegas. And like 5 minutes before the show, I found them. And I'm just going to tell you that my mood would have been a lot worse had I not found them. I get all hung up on this stuff, and I can't find things until I actually know the answer. And a lot of things at home, I don't know if you have this experience, but sometimes it's just like there's something covering it, or it's black and it kind of blends in.
Yes,
but it drives me batty if I'm looking for something that I know I should find because there's always an explanation. Let me give you a real quick example of this. I have this stuff that I keep my hot tub chemicals in and stuff like that next to the hot tub, right? It's just a little storage thing.
Yeah.
The other day it was pushed in a weird direction. I'm like, how in the world? This wasn't, Becky said it wasn't her, wasn't Alexa. You know what I found out last night?
You have a zoo.
No, listen.
What?
Yeah. There was a little frog back there and Max had to have his snout back there, so there's always an explanation.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Just like aliens.
That's
Okay.
true. That's true.
Now, if you are westbound on 70, it's usually fine right now. There's a little bit of volume around Natural Bridge. Most of it is Highway K out through Wentzville. 64, that's Kings Highway out through McCausland. A little bit of 270. And then approaching Highway N out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, pockets of moderate volume. Page down through Doherty Ferry. 55 is in pretty good shape, especially in the northern parts of 55. But there is a little bit of a slowdown north of Herculaneum. On the Illinois side, road work causing delays eastbound on 64, 55 as you head toward the 70 split. 70 eastbound slow as well, and eastbound 64 slowing at 255. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis. It's got the latest, most custom designs. It's right there in Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, Senator Schmitt did a couple of things last night in the congressional baseball game. He got on base a bunch. I think he scored a couple of times. He face-planted, making an amazing catch. He's going to join us with all the thrilling details, and he was MVP of the game with Greg Stubbe on the Republican side as well. So that's coming up. Let me tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage, and this is really a great offer. It's limited time. Maybe this gets you off the sideline if you're looking to purchase a home and you don't like where rates are sitting right now because they've been fluctuating. They can go up, they can go down. He's offering you a 1% discount on an interest rate for the first year. That's a huge advantage. For the first year of your new 30-year loan, you lock in that 1% lower interest rate, and you still get the bagel loan. Now, that's for purchases, right? For refis, you get the bagel loan. What does that mean? Well, it looks like a zero because you pay zero in fees that other lenders charge for. So when you refi, and again, psychologically, you may think it's not a good time. Stewie's going to tell you differently. You pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees. The other thing you can do is take a 30-year down to a 20-year or a 15. Maybe you get the same payment, you pay things off quicker, and he can close in as little as 10 days. Google the bagel loan or call or text Stewie, 314-324-4440. Stewart's American Mortgage, NMLS number 226715.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now's the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Alert, a breakthrough with Iran. I'm Lisa Brady. President Trump calls it a great settlement that could be finalized in the next few days.
And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this.
The president telling reporters he has spoken to a number of leaders in the region today, including the Israeli prime minister, and that the Strait of Hormuz will open as soon as a deal is signed.
We have a signing soon, and the documents are in pretty final shape. So we'll see. We'll see. Very good. Should be done. That should be done pretty quickly. They want it every bit as much as everybody else wants.
The president taking questions in the Oval Office after posting earlier that he was canceling a planned third night of attacks on Iran.
President Trump posting on Truth Social that the strikes were canceled and that some sort of deal was imminent. On Truth Social, Trump posted, based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. evening.
Fox's Max Gordon in Dubai. Iran had responded to the past 2 nights of strikes with more attacks on Gulf neighbors. Now, Iranian state media is reporting that the Iran Foreign Ministry is saying a large part of the negotiating text has been finalized, but suggesting that essentially it's not a done deal yet. President Trump also announcing today a new nominee for Director of National Intelligence, Jay Clayton, a federal prosecutor. He's been facing bipartisan pushback over picking a top housing finance official, Bill Pulte, to serve as acting director, and he does not appear to be backing away from that. Earlier, Democrats and some Republicans protested Pulte by opposing a temporary extension of a key surveillance tool, which is set to expire midnight tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News.
You're great at protecting your data, but lots of places could still expose you to identity theft.
I thought it was safe.
If that happens, LifeLock gives you a U.S.-based restoration agent who will stick by your side from start to finish. Phone calls, filing documentation, preparing insurance claims, your agent handles it all. In fact, we're so confident restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Isn't it nice to have someone like that on your side? Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Here's the tale of the daily Medfield. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insured.
Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Here comes our cool front right on time, and it will be the trigger for some gusty winds and scattered showers and thunderstorms. 1 or 2 could go strong, though I don't think that's for everybody. And cooler air coming in after midnight. 65 Friday. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity. Nice temperatures for June. 85 degrees. Friday night clear, 66. Saturday ahead of the next cool front, partly sunny, scattered showers and thunderstorms developing. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Zero Res wants to help you clean your home. Big summer savings right now. 3 rooms clean starting at $129. Plus, take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, well, last night watching the congressional baseball game, and I felt pretty comfortable watching that, Fred, because the Cardinals were doing so well. So I kept seeing the Cardinals score. I'm like, wait, is it the night before? Because it's 7-0
yeah.
again. But I kept my eyeballs on the congressional baseball game because of our friend and my friend, Senator Eric Schmitt. I was in communication with Kenny Hulshoff last night. They had 30,000, they say, in attendance, 32,000 sold, 3.2 million was the final amount raised. So Eric was playing, and he joined us yesterday. He's going to jump on the phone with us, but let me play some highlights because he was playing left field, and he said they really weren't going to maybe pitch to him, but the play was not, the play of the night was not at the plate. It was in the field, and it was incredible.
That one struck to left field, and what a dive! Oh, what a great
Eric
play!
Schmitt. Amazing catch.
The Redbirds would be proud of a play like that. Look at the nose.
Wow, and he roughed himself up here a little bit.
He had bloody nose.
Hit the warning track on the side there. Now, I wonder if Marionette Miller makes the team doctor might have to come out and bandage him up a little bit.
I thought that was funny.
At old school there, just wiping some dirt on it. He covered a lot of ground, got high on the horse there. And that was going to be a fair ball, I think, there, Kevin.
Yeah, I think so, too. And then he caught that on the heel of the glove. Face plants. Redbirds would be proud of a play like that. Worth every last replay. Tremendous.
Gold Glover right there in left field.
Yes, so then I was thinking, honestly, I'm thinking this should be on ESPN. But will they put Eric on ESPN? They do their top 10 plays. It was number 5.
Congressional baseball?
Oh, okay.
Are we talking politics here? Republicans versus Democrats. That's Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt. Shut Show me something.
What is
from the
happening?
show me state. Schmitt laying out to make the. That's my senator.
Oh,
that's my senator.
I didn't even know that was a thing. But you learn something new every day.
It is a thing, and Senator Eric Schmitt is with us. Number 5 on the top 10 plays on ESPN. That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
It is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's bucket list material for me, make it on SportsCenter, top plays. So it was fun, man. I wasn't sure I was going to get to it, honestly, and just kept going. It's funny because there's a left-hander who was hitting, and I just happened to his first swing. I just like, man, this guy could just drop it into left, and so I took a couple steps over.
Oh, interesting.
For the second swing, so it was. I guess the instincts were good and got there, but no, man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I, you don't hear anything when you're out there. You just focused. But when I caught it, I did hear like a fan or somebody say, "No way he caught that," or
oh, really,
something like that. And so that's why I popped up and showed the glove because, like, no, man, I caught that.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure the ump saw it. There was no confusion.
Well, what I saw on your face when you were trying to get that ball is there is no freaking way that I'm not making this catch. I could see it on your face, Eric.
Well, what people, I mean, you've known me for a while, and my team certainly sees this. Like, I'm a very competitive person.
Yeah.
And so I want it when it's like I get along with people and have a good time. But when I'm on the field, man, I want to win. And so yeah, I was determined to get to the baseball, and it worked out. And I didn't know I was bleeding until one of the teammates came up and said that. And so then I just sort of I noticed it and then just wiped it on my pants and moved on.
For a while, though, I mean, when you came up, it was very clear to the audience that you were bleeding. And then at one point, I think when you realized that you rubbed your nose, you gave a big smile, and that was pretty fun. So the Republicans did very well last night. I think the final was 11-2. And by the way, there was a lot of money raised. This is a charity game, and it was $3.2 million. They sold more than 35,000 tickets. I don't think everyone came through the door, but it was really, really cool. Now, look, I'm going to tell you, I told my friend Kenny Hulsoff this. I don't know if you communicated it. Great catch. You got on base a bunch of times. Little concerned about not hitting for power, Eric. With all this work in the cage, not a lot of power last night.
Well, I know. Well, my first two at bats. I mean, I told you they said after BP they weren't going to give me anything to hit.
Yeah, that's right. They did say that. Yeah.
My first two at bats, I walked, and then that third at bat, it was the bases loaded. It was right after that catch. And so I think my eyes got a little too big, and it ended up being a base hit. But it was probably the only pitch I had to really drive the whole game, and settled for kind of a bloop single. And then the second one, it was so slow, Mark, with Padilla, who is from California, and he's my Senate colleague. But it was hard to stay back, so I just took it up the middle for a single, and then had one more at bat. So yes, would I have liked to have had a more extra base hits, of course, but. 2 for 3, a couple walks in that play, in a win, I'll take it.
Oh, it was awesome. Hey, what did the family think? You told me yesterday the family was there, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because my daughters, teenage daughters, I don't really impress them much with many things.
I get it.
But the MVP thing at the end of the game, they were a little impressed with that. So it was fun to have them in town, and we have our whole team in town, our state team, our DC team. And then we have an thing afterwards to kind of celebrate. And it was a great night, and it was a lot of fun. Like you said, every year they'd sell more tickets and raise more money, and the $3.2+ million goes a long way for scholarships.
They were showing some of the staffers. Did your team have special shirts on by any chance or not?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
good,
no,
good.
Did. Yeah,
that's good because I was going to tell you Becky's really good at designing stuff like that. So if you want any kind of help next year, and then I got to talk. You were kind of co-MVP with Greg Stubbe, dude. That dude is jacked. Like he's ripped.
Yeah, he is. No, Stubbe's in good shape, and he's part of that kind of core. August Pfluger, who plays third base, is another beast. And so kind of the heart of the lineup. And there's a couple other guys, LZ and some others. So this is a core group that will return. And then, of course, you're going to be adding Teixeira next year. And so
that's right.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a dynasty here. And we take pride in that. I mean, honestly, it's what – look, yes, last night is what makes getting up at 4:15 in the morning St. Louis time to start my day.
Worth it, right?
Worth it, because you get out there, you can compete, you're raising money, you got your friends and family in the stands, you're on TV. Chance to have a sports-centered top 10 highlight, I mean, I'll take it.
I was so glad they did that, because Becky and I said at the time, and I was on a text string with some of my friends too, with Jennings didn't respond. I think he was busy, but my friend Joe Arnold, we're like, if there's any media fairness, they would play that on SportsCenter. And, we were sitting back thinking, okay, if it was a Democrat, it'll make it. But I'm glad you made it, because that was well-deserved. Listen, I'm glad you had so much fun. I was so into it. I didn't even turn the Cardinals game on last night because they were winning so big. I watched you guys. Chad Pergram did a great job on the color. So I'm glad you had fun. Get that nose healed up. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Senator. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Yep.
That's Eric Schmitt. Oh, thank you so much for coming on this afternoon. That was a lot of fun. And you were watching too, Fred, right?
No, I wasn't.
And
you know
weren't.
What? I was out cutting the grass, and I had my earbuds in.
Yeah.
Were you listening to the Cardinals game?
No, I was listening to music.
Look at
you.
You
were texting me.
Yeah.
So I could keep cutting grass. And while I was cutting grass, you were giving me updates. You told me about Eric's catch.
Well, I sent you the tweet, right?
That's right.
So what I did is I just took my iPad and I recorded. I knew that they'd flip the video around eventually, but I'm like, I just want to post this. And Zig retweeted it, and it got a lot of interaction last night before they put like the official clip out, and it was a lot of fun because, man, when he hit the dirt. His face hit it hard, but he came up smiling. That had to be a great moment. Like he said yesterday and today, like he's competitive, and I can see that. Both those teams, you can see kind of the fire. They want to beat each other. But when I said this earlier, when Mark Teixeira is on this team, like he's like going to probably be an Hall of Famer, right? I think he was a 3-time All-Star and a great player, first baseman. He might pitch just because he's probably got a better arm than any of these guys. Although Greg Stubbe, Greg Stubbe, who is from, Florida, he was the pitcher for pretty much the whole game, which that's a little unusual. That dude was jacked. His arms, he was ripped. I'm like, damn. Well, I mean, it wasn't exactly a picture of athletic prowess across both benches last night, but he looked really ripped. So I was very impressed with that. All right, we got Sue's News on a Thursday coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Just a little moderate volume westbound 70 Jennings Station Road, slowing at 141, and then in pockets out through Wentzville. 64 is kind of the same way. It's mainly moderate volume. Kings Highway out through McCausland. Then you get a break, slows again in pockets. Boone's Crossing out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, it's still moderate volume, and it's approaching Olive through Doherty Ferry, slowing again at Gravway. And westbound 44 slow in front of the Arch grounds. We've got a jam eastbound 5564 headed for 70. 70 eastbound slowing at 64. And due to road work, eastbound 64 jams headed for 157. I no longer have to talk about Bates, Fred. Did you notice that? And this report, yes, no kidding. And this report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Listen, call them. They've got this 26-point tune-up. One price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine original red ribbon. It's Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online, overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Is it my understanding that you can now exit and do everything normal at Loughborough?
Yes.
Okay, is it also my understanding that they're going to take down that bridge?
Yeah, they're going to.
So they're going to have to, everything's going to get shut down again?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Godspeed, Sue.
Thank you.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisor Group, to learn how to create your worry-free retirement. We'll meet June 16th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, June 16th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Ah, Corey, from your comfort service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
What if everything you learned in history class was only half the story? I'm Dr. Hrini Bhatt, host of Hidden History. Every Monday, I go where history gets mysterious. Vanished civilizations, doomsday prophecies, paranormal phenomena, and events that science still can't fully explain. On Hidden History, I treat these moments like open case files. Not myths, not superstition, just incomplete explanations waiting for a closer look. Listen to and follow Hidden History, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Oh, you know what? I actually set things up differently where I didn't want the music to play because I was going to straight into the intro. But then I forgot to hit the intro.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment. It's not clear messaging.
No. And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
In fairness, I was talking to the crew in the studio about important things.
It was very important,
exactly.
and I want to thank you for sharing.
All right, good.
On this day in history, 284 years ago, Fred, it's 1742, and somebody invented the stove. Have you any idea what well-known American invented the stove?
Would it be Benjamin Franklin?
That is correct.
I mean, he invented everything.
He really did. Every time I get into one of these and I think, who did? Benjamin Franklin again.
Well, what kind of stove was it?
Well, I think it's just contained fire in your house.
In your home.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Magic Chef Mansion?
Yes, it's
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Where's that?
Off of Grand.
Oh, it's here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's,
Never even heard of
and
it.
it was the owner was someone that invented the Magic Chef sort of oven.
He had a particular oven. It was the Magic Chef. It had its moment. It was like the thing.
I remember the name.
And they have this huge mansion that they own. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
If you ever want to tour it, it's a good idea. I love this movie so much that we've got 2 sound bites. On this day in history, 40 years ago, in 1986, this movie opened in theaters.
Oh, this makes sense because I saw this trending on X today. Yeah.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
Ooh, that is not your traditional bite
my
from
gosh,
Ferris Bueller. I like that one
so
a lot.
much.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I have another one. Should I
Okay.
play that one? Here we go.
Well, he's very popular, Ed. The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, heads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
That is why I have got to catch him this time. To show these kids that the example he sets is a first-class ticket to nowhere.
Oh, Ed, you sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I like Jeffrey Jones. Who is that? Edie? What's her name?
Edie,
oh my gosh,
I
she was
love
so
her.
great.
McClure.
Yes.
Edie McClure.
Now I'm sorry. That's just one of the greatest American movies of all
is.
time. It's not debatable. It is not
Agreed.
debatable.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off is 40 years old. I'm not sure how that happened. Anytime even a piece of it is on, I will watch the entire thing.
Exactly.
It's so great. Okay. Now, 36 years ago today, in 1990, 43-year-old Nolan Ryan pitched his 6th no-hitter, and that made him the oldest man to throw one. And then that record was broken the following season when Nolan tossed his record 7th no-hitter, and that record still hasn't been touched. It may be one of those records that nobody ever breaks. We'll see how that goes. It kind of, to me, is like Secretariat at Belmont.
Right.
You know, I guess it could be done, but boy, I can't imagine. But we'll see.
You mean by 29 lengths? Is that what we
Yeah,
heard?
I think the official turned out to be 32.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. Or 31.
Can I do my audible here?
Oh, yeah, here's your audible.
So I don't know how I came across this. There was a tweet this morning, and I vetted this because I don't trust anything, but I want to play a little music here, and you might recognize the band.
Wake up in the morning, there's a snap around the place.
Recognize the voice?
In the morning, there's a crackle in your
It's Mick Jagger.
Wake up in the morning.
This is a commercial for Rice Krispies.
This is to you and you and you. For on the milk to listen to the sound that says it's not.
I'm being serious.
You know, I was going to guess Pee Wee Herman.
No, it's the Stones in 63.
Rice Krispies.
I had no idea, so I looked this up, and in fact, they're not exactly sure if it was 63 or 64, but they formed in 62. They didn't release their first single in the UK until June of 63, so that would have been kind of right there at the beginning of everything. It looks like Brian Jones is the one who may have written that, and it's Mick Jagger singing that. The commercial did run on UK television for a very short time, but never in the US. How about that?
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He's
I never
so
knew that.
compressed sounding that I did not realize that was him. It would have taken me a while. Happy National Making Life Beautiful Day, just like Mark Reardon does
I do it every day.
Yeah,
I get up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to make life beautiful for everyone that I touch.
Yes. It's very thoughtful.
I'm glad you recognize that, Steve.
Mr. Sunshine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
It's also National Corn on the Cob Day. And, you know, Alex was here yesterday with a great recipe for what he does on the grill. I'm going to try to do that.
Yeah, did you hear that, Fred? You were here.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
like foil
Sounds good.
top part of the grill for like an hour.
Yeah,
butter, garlic, salt,
yeah,
pepper,
all of
whatever.
that
Oh.
stuff in there. It
Did he say
sounds-
garlic too or not?
Yeah, I thought he did.
Okay, all right.
I thought he did. All right, Tim Allen wants to do a home improvement revival, but 2 of his TV sons don't act anymore, and a third is in jail. He said, quote, "It's a little challenging right now, to put it mildly. Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Tara Noah Smith don't act anymore, although Jonathan did appear on 4 episodes of Tim's sitcom Last Man Standing. That was probably more than a decade ago.
Oh, yeah. And that was a good show, by the way. And that
It was
thing
a
that he
good
just did a
show.
couple years ago was awful.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
What was that one called?
It was kind of a bit of a spin, I think, off of Home Improvement. I can't remember, but it was bad.
And Zachary Ty Bryan is the one currently in jail.
What did he do?
Run-ins with the law, and I think one was about, it had something to do with his significant other. I don't know whether they fought or whether there was something else, but yeah, it's not good. It's no bueno, Fred. You could write that down.
Run-ins with the law.
I
Yeah.
hear
like
Richard Carnes does commercials all the time. I hear him all the time, and I'm listening to Fox. He might even be on this station. What is he selling? He's hawking something.
Oh, I don't know.
Is it a hose?
Yeah.
of some
Oh, yeah.
sort?
It's like the
Oh,
hose
yes.
that doesn't kink.
The
Yeah.
host that doesn't kink. Oh,
and
yeah.
I always feel like people, like there's got to be a lot of people, hey, it's Richard Carnes, that don't know who
I
he
have
is.
no idea until I heard him speak more. And then
Right.
I had to see the TV ad before I knew who he was.
Yes. He was the neighbor on, or no, he was Tim's partner on Home Improvement, his handyman partner, right?
Exactly. Some European soccer fans who've made their first trip to America for the World Cup are getting a taste of our country, and it is hilarious. There is a German guy named Freddie who has been tweeting about his experiences. Some of his joyful discoveries include Buc-ee's. His comment in all caps was, "Dude, LMAO, this is a gas station."
I mean, I want to hear, like, does that guy have stuff that he's tweeting out? Because I want to follow him.
You can't. I'll show you. Look up Freddie. He's German. I believe he's from Germany.
I love stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh. I do, too. Number 2, Walmart. They're just like, what is happening here?
Right.
What in the...
They don't have stores that big over there.
Okay, and they're making their way to Florida, and the heat. They just can't comprehend all this humidity and how hot it gets down there. Okay, they're also obsessed with... They went to Chili's and watched the NBA Finals and were like, yes, we are American.
Yeah.
And they've discovered Ella Langley on the radio.
Nice. I like that.
Who says she's been, quote, the soundtrack of our trip, man.
I love that. I've become a big fan of hers recently.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Waffle House at 1 a.m., he gave it a 10 out of 10.
Beautiful.
Food
That's
and
a piece
service.
of Americana.
Oh, my gosh. It is hilarious. Freddie also got overwhelmed by the number of choices at the Wendy's self-serve soda machine. And he has a picture of it on there. There's like at least 6 different kinds of Sprite alone. And then there's a whole thing. He's just like, it's too much for me. Yeah.
Remember when we had, it was only a short-lived thing back in, I maybe guess 15 years ago, the Tour of Missouri, where the professional cyclists came here. It was really good. We had it for 3 years. Peter Kinder was a big supporter of that. I remember interviewing some of the European cyclists and like even trying to explain American football because they went to, I think the Rams were still here at that time.
Oh.
And it was just so foreign to them. They just had no concept of American football. And that was before the NFL started doing a lot of these, games overseas.
Well, there's actual scoring there. The NFL.
That is a little different.
Yes.
You're not kidding, Sue.
There's also there's a Swedish woman named Elsa who got, quote, radicalized by the USA in just 48 hours when she found the Wi-Fi on her plane here was faster than it was at her house. I mean, America, people.
America.
Got
freedom
We
here.
are great. And
Yes.
she said she saw her first Amish people, and she was freaked out by that, too. Anyway, she learned that ranch dressing is basically crack, right? And that Europe needs it ASAP. So to just watch them come and discover America
They don't have the Amish
is
over there, I guess, huh?
hoot.
The Amish are awesome, by the way. Like
They
in
are.
Missouri, they'll come in and they'll break. They've built some things on the property where I hunt. Unreal. And the work ethic and how fast they do it,
You cannot.
outstanding.
It's untouchable. All right, I should have pulled something for this, but I wasn't that quick. Finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact. All right, when John Williams first played the 2-note dun-dun Jaws theme for Steven Spielberg, he laughed, thinking it was a joke, and expected something more melodic. And finally, John Williams said, the sophisticated approach you would like me to take is not the approach you took with the film I just experienced. This will be better. And he was right.
He was right. No doubt about that. And then I can't help but thinking about Landshark on SNL
Landshark.
as well. We're coming back with more.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. SpaceX is set for its public debut tomorrow with $75 billion worth of shares being offered. And according to the Wall Street Journal, BlackRock put in an order to buy at least $5 billion itself. But apparently other orders are similar to that of BlackRock. Waymo is launching a new subscription service which will target high-frequency riders of its autonomous vehicles. The plan will cost $29.99 a month and will be invite-only at the start for some riders in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. The European Central Bank became the first central bank to raise interest rates in response to the Iran war. The increase was a quarter point, going from 2% to 2.25%. Wall Street saw a big gain today on the potential of a peace deal with Iran. Dow Industrial Average gained 930 points, ending the session at 50,848. The Nasdaq picked up 640 points. The S&P 500 added 127. That's Your Money Now.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ziprecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Is it time to upgrade that backyard so you can enjoy it for the rest of this summer? Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mark Cox here. I'm telling you, they have a mission to be the very best when it comes to customer service and quality craftsmanship. They've been around since 1968. That tells you something. The same families owned this business all those years. Of course, they offer fences and decks, but they also do much more. Sunrooms, screen rooms, patios. They can do retaining walls. You mention it, and they can take care of what's going on in your backyard. Their project consultants will come out. They'll do free in-home estimates, no obligation at all, free project design. They've also got a great digital photo gallery of completed projects so you can look at what other people are doing and maybe get some inspiration. How about that? Reach out to them today. Mention my name. They're going to give you 20% off your next outdoor project. Check them out at chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
All right, don't forget we have a Reardon Roundtable set for tomorrow, 3 o'clock hour, as we take you into the weekend. Former State Senator John Lamping will be on the panel along with Ted House. On the other side, Paul Hall with all the entertainment recommendations as we take you into the weekend. Cusimano tomorrow. Look, this NBA Finals, the NHL Finals continue tonight. The Stanley Cup Finals, I guess I should say. Baseball. The Cardinals lost today, but they have they won 7 games in a row. And, you know, we're sitting in pretty good shape. They could have won that game and really should have earlier today. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done, but they won the series against the Mets. I think most of you have heard me over the years really kind of pounding on the terrible experience that we all had in the aftermath of COVID or during COVID with the stupid rules and the masking. And, you know, I was reminded of this a couple of weeks ago when my daughter had her, wasn't really a graduation, but she's going from 5th grade to 6th grade. So they do a ceremony at her school, and then they start flashing up pictures going back to kindergarten. And I got so angry because I'm looking at these pictures from kindergarten and 1st grade where these kids had masks on. Now, in my situation, we were lucky. We didn't have, you know, remote learning nearly as long as they did in New York or Minnesota or Illinois or places like that, but still it was damaging. Ian Miller is here. He is the author of Unmasked, the Global Failure of COVID Mask Mandates, and wrote a piece in Substack recently about the damage caused by COVID policies, which is utterly jaw-dropping, and unfortunately every time we hear things, it in fact is jaw-dropping. Ian, how are you? Sorry for the long intro. Welcome to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
This stuff just really infuriates me so much, and I think it's important to put, you know, a highlight on some of the things that we did so we wouldn't maybe make mistakes like this again. But I also feel like there's 2 types of people in the world, Ian. There's the people that didn't want to wear masks, didn't think that masks were going to do much good, and then there were people that just felt like this COVID thing was just swirling through the air like a black fog and would somehow, you know, go right up their nose and into their body and kill them. The psychology of COVID was just crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, we kind of still haven't really dealt with how these different breakdowns happen. But I think you're absolutely right. There was a lot of people that were kind of uncertain about what was going to happen, and they were kind of scared from what they were hearing in the media and from experts and the CDC. And so they just thought, I'm going to do whatever they tell me to try to protect myself and my family. And that's all well and good, except for what they were being told to do to protect themselves wasn't actually having any efficacy. So you're kind of just doing an empty virtue signal, as it were, to make yourself feel better without actually reducing your chances of getting COVID or passing it along.
Yeah, and to your point, look, we already kind of knew 2 weeks before we shut the world down that masks weren't going to work because we were told that, and then all of a sudden they were supposed to work, and then people wanted to virtue signal. There were no studies on the reduction of infection rates, as you wrote, from, putting arrows on the floors of grocery stores. Some of these things you forget, right, to make sure they went through predetermined patterns. We closed state parks and beaches. People got tickets for being on the beach in Los Angeles. That's outrageous. There were people yelling at other people in Central Park who were running without masks on, right, or cycling without masks on. That became a thing. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'll be very curious to see how history covers that period because there's still a lot of us that are angry about it. We see the learning loss that's happened. I've had even teachers in my daughter's school, Ian, say, even from the limited time that they had masks on and had to do remote learning, they're behind. And, that's just in a good school district here in Missouri where we had remote learning minimal time compared to other places, right? So it's just devastating for a lot of these kids and a lot of these families across the country.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that has most frustrated me, and why I spent so much time writing it and doing the book and everything else, is that there's always going to be a trade-off to any policy that you do in any walk of life. So when we did all these insane policies, as you mentioned, closing beaches and closing parks and yelling at people for running without masks, there's a trade-off to that. And we never spent a single second, or at least most of the experts and the politicians who made these policies did not spend a single second thinking about the trade-offs or telling the public what the trade-offs would be. And as you mentioned, the learning loss, there's all sorts of negative outcomes we see with obesity and missed cancer screenings. So all of these policies that were determined were based off of just one goal, which was reducing COVID transmission without any consideration for what other side effects it would have. And the worst part is it was made with that goal of reducing COVID transmission, and it didn't do anything against that either. So we had all these policies that had huge negative side effects without any positive benefits either.
Yeah, that's what's stunning. Look, I don't engage with people, but I still see, a fair amount of people wearing masks. And I guess if you're elderly or if you have comorbidities and you're worried about getting sick, that's fine, as long as they're not forcing them on me. But it's still so funny because I was on an airplane a couple of weeks ago and there were some masked people, but of course they slipped the mask underneath their nose. So I don't know why they think that it's still going to work when they do things like that. But Ian, you wrote a book called Unmask the Global Failure of COVID Mask Mandates. So what did you find in the rest of the world when it came to some of this stuff?
Yeah, that's the crazy part. If masks were going to work, there would be some evidence of it somewhere. But I went through and looked at every U.S. state, of tons and tons and tons of other countries, and there's just no evidence that it worked anywhere that it was tried. And one of the big examples that was brought up early on was that countries in Asia, like Japan and South Korea, were doing very well, and the assumption was that it was because of masking. Like those cultures have a higher prevalence of masking. Mm-hmm. But if you look over time, South Korea now has the highest confirmed COVID case rate of any country in the world, cumulatively. Something like nearly 70% of the country's population tested positive for COVID. And obviously the masking culture didn't change. So, what does that tell you? And there's tons and tons and tons of examples of that. I bring it up in the book where you can compare places that are right next to each other, even in the United States, like Washington, D.C. area, and say, Washington, D.C. had this policy, Virginia had that policy, Maryland had this policy, and there's no difference whatsoever, which, again, shows you the same area, same population, and there's no difference. So I think that goes to kind of prove a lot of these policies were never going to work.
We had this moment here in Missouri and in St. Louis where in the beginning of all this, we had, I think it might have been Memorial Day weekend. Okay, so it was a holiday weekend. That would have been 2020. It could have been the 4th of July, all right? But it was, we have the Lake of the Ozarks. I don't know how familiar you are with Missouri, but right in the middle of the state, a bunch of lakes and, people take vacations and go-karts and stupid things that you can buy. Well, there were a group of people that were at this very popular outdoor bar there, and they were deemed unworthy of return to St. Louis. We actually had a mayor at the time and other officials that warned those of us who were in the public that there were people that actually enjoyed themselves outdoors at a pool at the Lake of the Ozarks with no masks on. And I'm not even making this up, Ian, and those people would be deemed people that you should not, come in contact with, even though they were outside. It was just the biggest joke that became a story, but it's just another example of all the crap that went on around the country. It's one thing to have a mayor say that, or, our idiotic newspaper do a story, but people bought that stuff like hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe that was convincing. And I mean, there's millions of examples of some very similar things here in California. You have no more than 5 people for Thanksgiving and have them all outside and socially distanced. And there was no evidence to suggest that was going to be more effective.
No.
A lot of this was just made up on the fly. And I think that we've learned that over time. I mean, Anthony Fauci famously said that the 6 feet rule just kind of appeared. That's what he said.
Yeah.
There wasn't any evidence for it. So that just goes to show you how much of this was kind of thrown together piecemeal to look like they were doing something to stop COVID. But again, you can say that. You can say we're going to do something, but what is the opposite effect going to be? And obviously that has led to all sorts of negative side effects with mental health and, learning loss of schools and social, deterioration, things like that. So that it's bad enough to just make up policies on the fly. It's even worse to make them up and then also ignore all the other harmful side effects.
So did you explore, because I never really, and to this day, I don't understand why that became masking as a partisan issue, that left-wing lunatics and the people on the left thought it was more important than people on the right who are a little bit more common sense on it. But that became a thing. Like, that was a partisan issue. And it was, all the people, we got these suburbs around here with all these guilty white people and lefties and liberals like Webster Groves and Kirkwood. And that's where all this stuff was the worst, in those communities with the busybodies who are trying to scare people.
Yeah. So much of it, I think, is trying to be a, quote, good person, and that wearing a mask, you were showing that you care about your neighbors, care about your family members, things like that. I don't know why it became, I think early on, there was a lot of, as you already mentioned, there was no evidence pre-COVID that masks would be effective. But I think there was a sense within the government that we have to do something to show people that we're trying to stop this. And also, I think there was some part of it was to get people to be kind of afraid that everybody's wearing a mask, well, this is a unique and scary situation. We have to take it seriously. So even if it didn't actually make that much of a difference, it probably would have encouraged more behaviors that they thought would have made a bigger difference. And then it just turned into this whole thing about, being aligned with your personal ideology of being a good person, good and kind and caring person.
Yeah, because that's what I was told. It's like, oh, how hard is it to wear a mask? You're doing it for the other person. Well, I didn't want to wear a mask, and I certainly don't want my daughter, being forced to wear a mask. So I love the topic, Unmasked, the global failure of COVID mask mandates. Ian Miller is the author. Thanks for coming on 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me.
Take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident reported eastbound on 70, really close to 141, and that's created a jam back across the Blanchette Bridge. And westbound traffic, there was an accident in that area near 141 as well, so heavy traffic behind that. Now, it's also slowing as you approach Highway K. 64 is lined up, Kings Highway, and pockets out through 270, and then some pockets really all the way out through 70. Now, we've got eastbound 270 slowing tonight. As you head toward Riverview, it's also a little slow at 203, but usual volume on southbound 270. That's pockets from Olive to just south of 44. We've got slow-moving traffic eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge through the 70 split due to road work. 70 eastbound slows at 64, and eastbound 64 jams at 255. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at The Factory at 971talk.com/events.
No excuses. It's the Saturday before Thanksgiving, November 21st. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your tickets for The Factory. And I think Mr. Kilmeade must join us. He usually joins Wednesday or Thursday. I think he's booked up. Oh, I know. He's at the World Cup in California. He might join us tomorrow. That's what Fred told me. I want to talk about ThrottleNet and what they can do for you as a business owner. We, on Tuesdays, do this Tech Talk Tuesday segment, which I think is helpful for anyone out there because we really inform you, and George from ThrottleNet keeps you up to date on things that are related to security breaches, data breaches, ransomware, AI, you name it. Now, as a company, what ThrottleNet does is they are your IT everything as a business owner. They want to make sure that you can be safe. They focus on security strategy, keeping you productive so you don't have to. That way you can just do your job. But you also have to be aware that a data breach or ransomware attack or the wrong click could cost you money, could cost you your customers' trust. You don't want that to happen. So they're offering you a real practical way to understand your risk without guesswork. If you go to throttlenet.com/971, that gives you a free baseline security IT audit. It's a way to get clarity on where you stand. They can take it from there. ThrottleNet.com, put a /971 and start a really great experience with an awesome IT company right here in St. Louis.
In the Palm Beaches, we are truly in a league of our own with an unbeatable collection of year-round sports on display. Take a swing at tennis or pickleball, or get a front row seat to polo, baseball, and everything in between. Then, find out why we're called Florida's golf capital, with more than 145 beautifully manicured sun-soaked courses, perfect for pros and beginners. When it comes to sports destinations, there's no competition. Curate your vacation at thepalmbeaches.com.
Mark Cox here from my friends at Zero Res. Summer is finally here. It's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. They can handle every surface in your home: the carpets, the tile and grout, the upholstery and rugs, your air ducts, and more. And right now you need to reach out to them because, listen, vacuuming is not enough to maintain the cleanliness and the lifespan of your carpet. Go to Zero Res, 314-474-2020, and ask for the 97.1 special.
Don't miss a hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the St. Charles Convention Center in the North Hall. Choose from over 25 American-made units on display. See hot tubs, swim spas, and cold tubs all ready for immediate delivery. Save up to 50% on MSRP. Financing is available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE. That's 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
Bob and Tammy Kershaw are in the studio with us. We have another event next Tuesday night. Bob and Tammy, how are you?
Doing good, Mark. How are you?
That was good. You guys were almost in unison. I think you practiced that from time to time. Here we are once again on the cusp of another seminar next week. And I think, is this number 3? I'm really bad at math. You guys need to know that. I think it's number 3 out of 5, though, right?
Yes.
Yes, it
All
is.
right,
You're
awesome.
right.
You two, before we get into the seminar, you two look very tanned and well rested. What's going on? That can't be just St. Louis. That's not just St. Louis sun I'm seeing, right?
It is.
Is it really?
It
is, yes.
Sun, yeah.
Good for you.
We like to be outside.
I don't blame you. What do you do outside? You play pickleball or anything? That's my thing these days.
No, haven't been doing
No
that. We
pickleball.
swim a lot.
Swim a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, you look great. You look healthy, and we
Thank
like
you.
to see that as
Thank
we
you.
as we head into summer. All right, tell folks what's going to happen on Tuesday night.
So we're gonna, pretty much like we always do. We're gonna have a good time with you and Annie and Mark Cox coming out, and we educate people on different strategies that are out there. How you can link to the market. When you link to the market, you don't have to risk any penny of your principal, what you've worked your life's, your whole life's for. And we're proud to say in 40 years, we've never lost a penny of our clients' money.
So I always tell people, look, if you're skeptical about that, come to this event, right? Or you can
Exactly.
always make an appointment in person and listen to the explanation of the philosophy, right?
Exactly, because we're going to educate you. We're also going to show you income, and income's crucial. And a lot of folks, when they go into retirement, a lot of people don't know, what their income is going to look like. And it is really important to know that. We show you how to do that. We do that for you, just so you can have some peace of mind in retirement, knowing that your money's going to last you. You're not going to run out of money and have to go back to work, because nobody wants to do that.
How much tougher is it now? Like, we even had, inflation numbers today that weren't good, right? And we know I was in with a friend of mine, and we did a podcast today, and we just had a chance, even during the podcast and before. And I'm not, I'm not exactly living below the poverty line. I'm not super wealthy or anything like that. I feel like my household has a fair amount of income, and my friend that I was doing the podcast with, same thing. But even in that, level, if you will, we're like, man, S costs a lot. I mean, it costs a lot. And then we both said to each other, how are people doing it when they have no money? Like, I had a lot of car expenses, for example, last year, and fortunately able to absorb it. But, money's flying out the window for a lot of people. I see credit card debt at an all-time high. So this type of meeting is very important for the future, right?
It is. Just as Tammy was saying, it's so important when you're near retirement, already retired. We put together that personalized structured income plan for you. It's structured just for you. So at least when you do retire, you have an idea on how much money am I going to make? How long is it gonna last me? The last thing you want to do is go into to retirement stressed out, worried how are you going to make ends meet? Because let's face it, social security these days, that's not enough to live off of.
Well, and then you also, you referenced something, and I think we see stories about this every once in a while. There are people that maybe retired, thought they were going to be able to retire comfortably, and they've had to go back to work, right?
Exactly.
We've seen it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that personally.
No,
Maybe-
nobody wants
I don't think
to.
anybody does.
Maybe because I've never worked in my life anyway, really. I've just blabbed on the radio. But yeah, once you retire, you kind of want to, get moving
Enjoy
with
yourself.
The,
That's
right,
when you're
exactly.
supposed to do those vacations and have fun. And
Right. You want to be done.
We want to put together
So if
for
you're,
you.
if you're I would say 5 to 7 years away from retirement, you should come see us, because
the golden number is 59 and a half.
Yeah,
if
right.
you're
Yes.
59 and a half or older, this is the event for you. There's no cost, no
it's free. We just need to know that people are
obligation.
coming, right?
We just need to know who's coming, so we know how many people to make sure that we have enough seats.
Go to retirementkey.com. You'll see it right on the front page. You can click the tab, the numbers there as well. And then you can also go one-on-one. If you don't want the group setting, go one-on-one. You can meet with you guys.
And you could call us at 314-993-9494. As Mark just said, you can go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
I don't think I've mentioned the location. It's the Doubletree out in Chesterfield off of Swingley Ridge Road. We used to do these near Plaza Frontenac, but moved them out a little west. It's easy to get to, and it's not a huge time commitment, too.
It's
not.
It
we
starts
try to
at
get you in and out.
6:30, and we have you out in 1 hour. It's from 6:30 to 7:30. You guys all come at 6, and we have a little fun and stuff, and you guys mingle and talk to people. So if everybody wants to come at 6 to get a chance to meet the team, that's always fun.
Yeah.
So
retirementkey.com. Get signed up today. We'll see you Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Bob and Tammy Kershaw from the Retirement Advisory Group. We hope to see you on Tuesday night. We'll wrap things up here in just a couple of minutes for the 5 o'clock hour. My good friend Charles Lipson, Professor Emeritus at the University of Chicago, is going to weigh in on some of the latest related to Iran and some American politics. Now, on the Iran front, I think even Fred put some stuff in here recently this afternoon, because there is, he's calling it a memo of understanding. He thinks there's a deal. There was going to be some more bombing of Karg Island tonight, but he's called that off.
And we're going to be subject to finalization of documents. We should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe. And it's a great thing. Stock market's up 1,000 points. That means they like the deal. See, that means they like, if the market goes down, that means they don't like the deal. But it's been up, oil's dropped. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. I said I was in Iowa. It was $1.85 a gallon. And I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we're going to get pretty close. It's going to come down, and when oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, well, we may have a deal, but those gas prices at that level, that will not happen for at least 6 months. So I think the administration, by the way, there was even a piece today where the oil executives have kind of warned the administration that this stuff is not going to happen the way that they're explaining it. I thought this was interesting, though, because, he had been a few weeks ago just threatening to bomb them off the planet, right? And bridges had come up, and what he said about infrastructure, like water bridges, utilities, stuff like that. Here's what he said today.
I'd rather not do it, because once you do that, the people suffer. Like I heard you mentioning water. Water is really a devastating loss for them. I could do that in 1 minute. Message to the Iranian people is they're afraid because they have no guns and the other side has guns. And they have a rally and they get shot.
So we had a ceasefire. They broke the ceasefire by taking down the Apache. We retaliate. I'm not sure we retaliated enough. There was more retaliation that was going to be in the works, and now that is off because he thinks he has a deal. I hope he's right. I've underestimated this president a lot. So are they talking to the right people? Do they have a path to the end of this? We're going to explore that with Charles after the top of the hour. Also in the next hour, Brian Ping, they have a trial underway in Los Angeles. Brian's a St. Louis native and an anchor for KNX Radio in Los Angeles, but they have a trial for the guy that's accused of starting the Palisades fire that's underway. And then, of course, the World Cup game in L.A. tomorrow. The fallout from the California primaries will cover it all.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
55 looks great out of downtown, and 44, there's actually a jam. We have an accident reported just past Lindbergh, and that has created heavy traffic behind it. Kind of the usual volume on westbound 6440, approaching Hampton in pockets on out through 70. There was an accident eastbound 70 at 141 that's caused a jam in that area. Westbound a little slow there. And on either side of 79. Southbound 270, it's moderate volume in pockets, mainly Olive down through Gravois. On the Illinois side, some volume coming off the Poplar Street Bridge eastbound. That's all due to road work. Eastbound 64 slowing at 255. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do everything from windows to bathrooms, and they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I want to guide you into some really, really good legal help if you need it, and that's with Susan L. Ward, who's a family practice attorney here in St. Louis. If you think things are going to not end up well, you got to reach out to a lawyer right away, and Susan's there for you. You can easily make mistakes. Look, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of anger that goes into this process. I was there. I've said this before. I don't remember ever being as angry because a lot of times it's very confusing what's happening if you're never used to dealing with a lawyer or the courts, and the law is very, very specific. I found that out sometimes the hard way. But if you have someone with experience who can give you the right advice, guide you through a very difficult time, and help you maintain the relationships with your children, and some of that has to do with, making sure you have enough money financially to live and to make sure you see your kids, that's what they're going to help you with. Susan's rated AV Preeminent by Martindale-Hubbell. That's a peer rating that is given by other attorneys, and it shows that she's reached the height of professional excellence. So if you need help in any situation that involves family law, the end of a marriage, or post-divorce issues, they can help you right here in St. Louis with a beautiful new office. They've been open about a year in De Pere, 270 in Manchester. STLFamilyLaw.com is the website. Get with Susan today. Tell them that we sent you over.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out, not for everyone. Because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Audio cut of the day coming up.
FM Florissant. An Odyssey station.
He calls it
a great settlement in the war with Iran. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says a peace deal is on the table.
The president says the U.S. and Iran have agreed on a memorandum of understanding, and it means Iran will never be able to get a nuclear weapon. He told reporters at the White House,
It should be done pretty quickly. They want it every bit as much as everybody else wants it.
The president said the agreement may be signed as soon as this weekend.
The whole Middle East is happy, and long beyond the Middle East, the Strait will open as soon as we have it signed.
The president had been threatening another round of strikes against Iran in retaliation for the downing of an American military helicopter earlier this week, but those strikes have been put on hold.
Fox's Jill Nato in Washington. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry says Iran has not reached a final decision on an agreement. The president confirming Housing Finance Director Bill Pulte will continue as acting director of national intelligence while announcing a new nominee to the post.
He's running it for a short while when we get a very talented person, Jay Clayton, in. As you know, Jay Clayton's an incredible talent, head of Sullivan and Cromwell. He was head of the SEC.
This coming as Democrats and some Republicans had voiced concerns over Pulte's lack of intelligence experience and voted against the extension of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Bill in protest of the choice in the House today. The Department of the Interior investigating after the grass on the National Mall was defaced.
We don't know of any arrests, but they are saying this is an act of vandalism. To be 8647. 86, the restaurant's slang term to cut something, kill something off an order. And obviously 47th has usually been indicative of President Trump being the 47th president.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Wall Street stocks rallied to their best day in 2 months after President Trump called off the other round of strikes against Iran. The Dow gained 929. The Nasdaq added 640. America's listening to Fox News.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insured.
Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Here comes our cool front right on time, and it will be the trigger for some gusty winds and scattered showers and thunderstorms. One or two could go strong, though I don't think that's for everybody. And cooler air coming in after midnight, 65 Friday. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity. Nice temperatures for June, 85 degrees. Friday night clear, 66. Saturday ahead of the next cool front, partly sunny, scattered showers and thunderstorms developing. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, I'm driving in today, and my route is I go through Peabody Housing Complex in 14th Street, and then I get close to the bus station. As I was approaching the, what's the damn hotel there? Is that the Marriott? Whatever, it's got the big painting on it. There was a big gust of wind, and there were these two guys that were trying to get into an SUV, and the one guy's hat, like, literally went up in the air about 15 feet, hit the building, and then bounced back down. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's really, really windy. And I hadn't really been outside today. So then when I get here, I open up my iPad to STL Today, and one of the big headlines is high winds and storms in St. Louis region tonight. Heat wave ends Friday. That part of it I like, but I didn't know we were going to get the high winds, apparently up to 60 miles an hour. Dave Murray, you just heard his forecast. He's going to join us at 5:20 with an update on all of that. Now, the president says that he has a memo of understanding with the Iranians. He's called off the promised bombing of Karg Island tonight because he thinks that they have a deal.
How confident are you that there will be a signing this weekend? Because you have come close to sealing a deal, but at the last minute it has fallen apart. And
It'll be soon. Maybe this weekend.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
And when this deal is signed, is the United States going to immediately lift the blockade?
Yes, that's true. That's part of the deal.
And
you'll have oil prices dropping like a rock.
And sir, have you actually secured an agreement on the discussions about the nuclear material and the nuclear negotiations?
Yes, conceptually on that, and nobody's getting close to it because it's buried under a mountain, basically. There's B-2 bombers.
But has Iran committed to not pursuing a nuclear weapon, or will there be more negotiations on that down the line?
They will not have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. There will be no, which is the whole reason, which is a big part of the reason.
Is that going to be in your agreement, sir?
They will not only not have, they will not purchase, develop in any way, any shape, in any way, shape, or form a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon.
That was a rather interesting and very good exchange and good questions being asked of the president. He stayed very calm there. He seems to be very confident that they have some sort of deal. Let's get some insight this afternoon from our friend Charles Lipson, professor emeritus at the University of Chicago. He writes at Real Clear Politics and at charleslipson.com. So what do you think here? A memo of understanding. Is that something that's going to hold?
Well, that's a $64 question. My general feeling is that if you hook the leaders of Iran up to a lie detector, it would break the machine.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But I mean, he said, what I said earlier, Charles, is I've underestimated this guy, this president before, and he sounds so confident that there's something in the works, right?
Yes. And I think if they don't come through with it this time, we'll go back to a full scale, what's called kinetic action,
right,
which everybody else means bombing. But there are several key components, and we need to list them. There was a discussion of the nuclear program that really involves two things. One is developing new fissile material, and the other is getting the other fissile material out of the country. It sounds like, from what the president was saying, that he's been assured that the fissile material that was already there is buried under a previous bombing, but we would have to be assured of that.
Yeah.
The next thing is limiting missile development. We need to, they really were planning to have so many missiles that there was no way to attack them should they go for a bomb, that they could just wipe out any of UAE, Israel, any Saudi Arabia, and the oil facilities there. And the final issue is whether there is support for terrorist groups, the ending of support for terrorist groups that are part of this. So, and finally, I guess, obviously, inspections. I mean, we just can't try. If they say the sun rises in the east, we need to have an inspection.
So talk a little bit about cargo island, because one of the reasons that was going to be a target is because there's an airfield there, there's terminals for oil. I mean, that was going to the goal there was to put the hurt on Iran even more when it came to oil, correct?
Right, but it's important to we need to make 2 points about cargo island. The first is that we could have easily destroyed all of the offloading facilities there from the air. We didn't need to go in. Why didn't we do it? Well, presumably because we wanted to preserve it for a successor regime, but now we've given up the idea of a successor regime, right? So that's the issue, and it didn't sound like they actually wanted to bomb it. It sounds like we were talking about actually landing troops there and securing the island, but those troops would be very vulnerable to an attack from Iran, which is why Trump said yesterday, I think it was, that he didn't know if America had the stomach for that.
Yeah, well, and that's interesting. So at this point, I'm sitting here. I've heard about the diplomacy. You hear Trump on a daily basis talk about oil prices dropping like a rock. I'm just envisioning the next few days and coming in here on Monday. Well, I won't be here. I'm taking the week off, so maybe I get a break here, and talking about whether or not a ceasefire held or there was a deal that was to be made with this regime and the people inside. I think a lot of people are still very, very skeptical about that. But again, this afternoon, the word is that we're going to try to, come to an agreement on this memo of understanding and then move forward. So we'll have to see, and we'll kind of wait for what happens next. But I'm not very optimistic, Charles. That's kind of in my nature, though.
I think that's right. Dealing with Iran will punish any optimist. It seems to me that there are two issues. You've got to button down every detail that you want them to live up to, and then you've got to have inspections. And then beyond the inspections, you've got to have a credible threat to punish them if they don't live up to the agreement.
A lot of oil industry executives apparently have gone to the administration and warned them that their prediction about, the oil market and the prices plummeting might not necessarily happen quite as quickly as the president seems to think, and that gas prices are going to stay high for a while. I think he's in some danger territory, leading people to believe that this is all going to be turned around quickly, and I don't think it will be.
I think for him, the important thing will be has it turned around by August, because that's when it's going to begin to affect the voting for November.
Charles, let's talk about California a little bit and your takeaways there. I was never one that bought into the notion that Spencer Pratt could win the race in November. I wouldn't have been totally shocked if he got to the runoff, but it makes sense given the makeup of the demographic out there that he didn't. But on the governor's race in particular, it's interesting that Tom Steyer, multi-billionaire, right? He spends all this money. He doesn't make it to the runoff. Javier Becerra, who is in the administration with Biden, not super popular, but he ends up winning. And then Steve Hilton really, I think, puts on an impressive number. Now, I think the experts will tell me, and I already have a wager on this particular race, that, look, Becerra's going to win. It's California. It's not going to be a Republican. Sure, Arnold won, but Steve Hilton is not going to be the guy to win in California. I think there's a little bit more of a chance than there maybe ordinarily would have been, but what is your handicapping of that right now?
I think it's very unlikely.
that Hilton wins.
That Hilton wins. And remember, there were something like 61 Democrats on the ballot.
I know, yeah.
A lot of them got a small number, and Hilton, there were really only two Republicans. It was an open primary. They call it a jungle primary. But the other Republican kind of faded, and so all the people who were really voting against what California has become voted for Hilton. But my sense is that the voters in Los Angeles and now the voters in California are like all those old movies about fraternity initiations where the guy says, "Thank you, sir. Can I have another?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look,
yeah, that's what the voters there seem to want.
Well, and that's what's baffling, and that's why I think with, someone that's pretty much non-ideological, and Steve Hilton, certainly he has his ideology, but when he's talking about things like Spencer Pratt did and tapping into the common sense issues, that you would think that there would be some traction there and just some frustration with the mess that California has become. But again, this will become a thing with President Trump, and they'll try to tag him with that and make him out to be a crazy Republican, and then it is California. So I don't know. I was holding out some hope for California, which is why I placed the wagers on my political roundtable last week. But Charles, think about this. The wagers are based on the November general election, right? They won't have the results of that for like a year. So I don't have to pay. If I lose those bets, I still got like a year to pay them off. So I feel pretty good about it from that perspective.
They just declared that Eisenhower won the presidency.
It's insane the way they do this out there. I mean, I'm not a stolen election person, and I do think that there's fraud in elections, but that should not be a 2 to 3 week to a month counting process in our biggest state in the country. It's embarrassing.
When you combine that with ballot harvesting, what happens is even if there's not a stolen election, there's a lack of trust in the outcome. And in a country where people don't trust the other party to begin with, this is really not good, and California leads the way.
Have you, this is off the beaten track, but let me just ask you, I guess you would have an opinion on this. Have you had any kind of investigation or talked a little bit about the Chicago Bears and the move to Indiana or not?
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the basic story is that all of these professional teams want their hand in the taxpayer's pocket.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so the question is, who's going to give them the most? And Illinois has been very slow in that regard. Now, they've given hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal immigrants. And you would think maybe the Bears would be at least in the same line, but they've been very slow to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that the move to northern Indiana, this would be a Chicago suburb, Hammond, Indiana, is a very credible threat. Whether the Bears can come through or not, I don't know. But look, the New York Giants play in New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of these teams that have moved across state lines.
Well, the Chiefs did it, but it's still Kansas City, Kansas. But yeah, they took the money and ran over to Kansas. So, it's my dad sent me something today that I thought was interesting, and I can't disagree with. Think about this. And he was a sleazy guy for decades. But he said if Mike Madigan was still in Springfield, this thing would probably be done. And it's hard to argue against that, right?
Well, Mike Madigan got a lot of things done. He was so careful. Mike Madigan never carried a telephone. He never carried a telephone because he knew that the federales would be tapping it.
Right, exactly.
And they still caught him.
Yeah.
Eventually. But the fact is, a lot of when there's sort of minor corruption at the state or federal level, a lot of times it sort of greases the skids to get done. The problem is that when the corruption reaches a very high level, very bad things happen. And in Illinois, one of the things, and this has happened in California as well, one of the things that's happened was people who shouldn't get commercial driver's licenses were driving 18-wheelers. And out of California, if we go back to them, there were people who couldn't read English.
Yeah. Unbelievable. By the way,
just dangerous. That could be the guy next to you on the interstate.
Well, we've seen examples of
through
that.
I-55.
Right. We've seen examples of that and very dangerous examples of that. By the way, for people who don't know, Mike Madigan was the leader of the Democrat Party in the House in Springfield, Illinois for, was it 40 years? I mean, it was from the 80s. Yeah, 83 to 2021. It was the longest
serving until he went where, the state motto in Illinois is where our leaders make your license plates.
Yes, exactly. And he's in prison right now. He started serving that sentence last year. He worked for Richard Daley back in the day. That's how he started, which is kind of interesting.
Wow.
And he was first elected to the House in 1970. He was ridiculously corrupt, but very powerful and, an interesting story. All right, Charles, I got to run, but thank you so much. I hope you're well.
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Take care. Find him at charleslipson.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads tonight, nothing terribly unusual on 6440. It's Kings Highway out through McCausland, eastbound slowing 170 through Big Bend. And then you see a jam out west. It's pretty much at Lake St. Louis Boulevard and some moderate volume at Lindbergh. But we had an accident occur eastbound 70 at 141, and it's still jammed there, slow in both directions. And an accident westbound 44 past Lindbergh. That has really caused a delay. What looks good is 55, and we've just got moderate volume eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge through the 70 split. Northbound 170, a little bit slow at Airport Road. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Hey, Daybury's coming up. We got high winds, some storms moving in. Let's talk about Generator Supercenter because the power could go out tonight. If you have a Generac generator, you don't have to worry about it. It's going to kick right back in, and you will not have food that spoils. You don't have to worry about, the air conditioning going out. Even though we do have a bit of a cold front coming in, it's hot out there, and it's sticky, and the atmosphere is combustible. Dave's going to give you details on that. I'm going to give you details on how to get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. They're in Chesterfield on the Airport Road. They'd love to talk with you. Look, there's low monthly payments and financing available. How much is it worth to get peace of mind so when the high winds come through, the ice storms, or when eventually the power grid fails, that you have a dependable way to get your house back up and running literally within seconds. 499-2020. Call them or visit the website, GeneratorSuperCenterofSt. Again, low monthly payments. Financing is available. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
So, Sue, I told the story a little earlier. As I was driving in, I come down 14th Street, approaching the bus station and Enterprise. So I'm heading to the north. And there was a gust of wind. There were these two guys by an SUV right where the Sheridan, I guess, is. And we don't even know if that's still open. And this dude had his hat blown off, like a ball cap. It went 15 feet in the air. It bounced off the building. He had to go running down the sidewalk. So then when I came in, I didn't realize that we had some storms and really, really high winds that were in the forecast, apparently not paying close enough attention. But meteorologist Dave Murray with us this afternoon to paint the picture. How are you, Dave?
I'm fine. I'm always paying attention.
I know you are, and I don't pay close enough
Dave
attention.
Murray.
So what
a new warning, a ball cap alert.
Yeah, I know. Well,
right.
It was so funny because, it flew in the air, way up in the air, and I was just laughing. But do we have severe thunderstorm possibilities too?
There's a possibility, yes. We're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock, but the line of storms is still way to the west. It's west of Hannibal. It's west of Mexico, Columbia, Jeff City, Osage Beach, and Springfield in Missouri. It's still way out there, but it's going to start to accelerate, especially as we get a little closer to sunset. And it's a very thin line of storms. Not everybody will see severe weather, but everybody will see brief but very heavy rain. There'll be some pooling of water on the roadways, intense lightning. Under the strong to severe stuff, hail up to a quarter-size, wind gust of 40 to 60 miles per hour. Again, that's not for everybody. Prime time for this line to come across St. Louis, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh.
It'd probably be closer to 9 p.m. the way it's looking now. Rain and storms in any given location will only last 20 to 30 minutes and then be gone. The line is a cold front, but it will bring a 15 to 20 degree drop in temperature with the storms, and that cooler air stays with us on Friday. Friday's a gorgeous day.
Yeah, well, and I'm taking next week off. I'm playing Belle Reve and the Bluffs and Monday and Tuesday, although it might have a little rain, but they look like, maybe even in the 70s.
Yeah. At least we've got another cold front coming through Saturday night. That will drop us down into the upper 70s for high temperatures on Sunday, and no big heat in sight for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
I'm trying.
Bring your power if you're playing Belle Reve.
Well, bring my power because the rough is crazy there right now because they're getting ready for the BMW. So What's weird, Dave, is I suck at golf, but I play that course relatively well, and I don't know why. I don't score well. Don't get me wrong. wrong. But I tend to be relaxed. I play with my friend Jeff Drew. He's known as the king at Belle Reve, and I have a musician friend coming in. And I don't know, I know the course pretty well, and it's fun to watch like the tournaments when they take place when you know a course that well too.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right,
well,
so I got
to... If you run into him, say hi to Bill Cady for me. He's also the king of Belle Reve.
I will do that. So let me look here. I'm looking. Sue knows this, and I think you know this, Dave. I'm a big dew point guy. I still never really can tell you what it means.
He has no idea what it means.
Yeah, but we're at this is why it's 73 the dew point. Now you're talking like you get up toward 80. That's like Florida, but 73 that's pretty sticky.
73 is sticky. We're like 91, 92 right now. So the heat index is about 100, 101. Oof. But yeah, I've always used 70 degree dew point. You start to really feel it.
Yeah.
73, 74, you know it's there. And then anything above 75 is you wish it wasn't here.
But I got to say, we complain a lot about the weather. And, as soon as we're like, it's too hot and then it gets too cold. But this spring has been amazing. And to not have, today's triple digit feels like, but we have not had a lot of that. It's been beautiful.
No, this is the first heat wave of the season, and that's 90 degrees or above for 3 days in a row. And we've had that, and that will be it. It's going to end tomorrow. It will be 85 degrees tomorrow with dropping humidity.
I love
Spectacular
it. Perfect golf and pickleball weather. That's something else I've been doing a lot is playing pickleball. I guess that indicates that I'm
hurt.
Well,
no, it doesn't.
I'm at advantage. I think I'm at a little advantage because I play racquetball too, so I'm used to the lateral moves, and I'm not going to say I'm in great shape right now, but I've been playing every weekend and sometimes a couple of times, so I'm getting there. And when you play with people that are good and that can move around, you get a pretty decent workout in. You know,
I've known people though because we played for a number of years. I've given it up now, but broken arms, broken legs. Guy lost his eye.
Oh my gosh, Dave!
I mean, there's
Well, okay, hang on here. How did someone lose their eye?
He didn't get the racket up fast enough.
So
and the pickleball hit him right in the eye.
Okay, now look, here's what I will tell you.
Concussions.
This is interesting because when I play racquetball, I always wear eye protection, right? You always play.
Yes.
So when I play pickleball, I don't. But listen what happened last weekend. Last weekend, I had sunglasses on. I typically don't even like playing with my sunglasses on, but I'm glad I did because I took one right to the eye, and it gave me a little dent over my eyebrow. But honestly, if I didn't have the glasses on, it would have hit me pretty flush.
Yeah, you would have had some damage.
And that was on my left eye. On my right eye, I have a buckle around my right eye because my retina almost detached like 35 years ago. So now that you say that, Dave, I think I'm going to start wearing eye protection. I have my goggles. Because that scares me when you say somebody lost an eye.
At least sunglasses.
All right, I'm doing it. I'm going to take that advantage. All right, Dave, have a great weekend. Thanks for the update.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean it was a pretty direct shot, and it pushed the glasses into I thought it was bleeding. I reached up there, kind of like Schmitt did to his nose last night, but he was really bleeding, and I wasn't. But it did make an impression on me because I've been hit, in the eye when I haven't had eye protection on playing racquetball. Like
that would be bad.
I forget to put it. Yeah, it can be very bad. So, good advice from Dave Murray there. I was going to tell you before we get to Brian Ping here at the bottom of the hour out in Los Angeles. I wanted to see, Sue, if we're always kind of keeping our eye out. I think especially in media for new jobs, right? I mean, I kind of take a look at stuff just in case. You never know when this media thing is going to come to an end, do you? So I saw there was a job today that I saw for the city of St. Louis to be a person that runs like the tow lot. Right? But listen to this. I wanted you to hear the job description because how much experience?
Have you been to the tow lot?
I have.
It's not great.
No, it's awful.
It's a frightening place.
It is a terrible place. But listen to this. This is why I think it's interesting. So the commissioner of towing is what this position is called. It says it's an executive leadership position within the City of St. Louis Street Department. The primary mission of this role is to enhance the quality of life in the community by maintaining clear rights of way, improving neighborhood safety through the efficient removal, storage, and disposal of vehicles that pose a public nuisance. This includes vehicles involved in accidents or those that are derelict, abandoned, or creating obstructions. So they kind of, go through all the responsibilities, the knowledge and skills. You have to have communication ability. I have that, right? Data analysis. I mean, I do that with horse racing. I can
Mark,
analyze some. I can do a little math. Math. Safety and security. I think I can learn that. Conflict resolution. Okay, I'm out. I think that's where that's where I'm going to probably be disqualified. Equipment, tools, and materials requires the ability to operate a variety of office equipment, including but not limited to a computer, a fax machine, a photocopier, a scanner, a printer. What would be the? I've given you the qualifications, the skills. What would be the range of salary for the commissioner of towing in the city of St. Louis? You want to take a stab at that?
$70,000?
$70,000 to what?
85.
$70,000 is very close. 68,796, very specific.
Wow.
To 107,848.
Wow, depending on your experience?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
I have
this
no
is
tow lot experience.
Okay, but wait a second here. I'm going to flag something, and I think it's discriminatory. I think it's bigoted by Kara Spencer in the city. Listen to this. Qualified applicants have to provide a valid driver's license.
Yeah.
Come on, man. How can you require someone to show an ID for a job within the city? That seems very discriminatory, and I think it's going to be something that, causes a lot of people to be displaced when they, can't provide their ID for this job. I'm very concerned about that, and Kara Spencer, I want you to know that.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews just cleared that accident eastbound 70 at 141. It had been in the left lane. Tow truck just drove off, so that jam behind it is unwinding. Now, westbound 70, a little slow in that area, but not much. 64, that's still lined up Kings Highway in pockets out through 270, and then a little bit at Highway N. We are improving on westbound 44. They cleared the accident past Lindbergh, and it's still unwinding. Southbound 270, moderate volume from Olive down through Doherty Ferry, and still some volume on the Illinois side eastbound on 5564 headed for 70. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Take a look at that TV monitor up there. That is a live
Whoa.
shot. It looks terrible. It's up in Peoria, Illinois, so it's not in our area. Channel 4, no, I'm sorry. It's Fox 2 was showing this shot from their affiliate in Peoria, and the skies looked like death. I mean, it looked really, really bad. And the line of thunderstorms that Dave was describing is well north, and it's going through like the all the way from like where Macon, Missouri is up to Quincy, and it's kind of taking that line to the northeast of St. Louis. But there's more stuff behind that could hit us, so just be advised of that.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. The 19th century marked a period of rapid industrial advancements in the country. Communication, on the other hand, was still moving at a snail's pace. The telegraph was still a new and developing technology, leading most Americans to rely on physical means to send a message, trains, ships, and the good old Pony Express. But in 1851, everything changed with the foundation of a small telegraph company in Rochester, New York, and that would later become known as Western Union. Western Union developed a vast telegraph network across states. Within a decade of its birth, Western Union completed the first transcontinental telegraph. But it didn't stop there. Western Union would also develop the stock ticker and even the first wire money transfer.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
All righty, we are here in summer, and a lot of us are finding that our air conditioners doesn't seem to be cooling on, it'll cool in the morning, but by afternoon it never shuts off, and then while you're sleeping, it'll start cooling the house down. you're wasting a lot of money on energy, on your electric. We know how high our electric bills are getting. If that's happening to you, call me. Come out there and take a look at it and get it fixed for you pronto. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. 314-293-2600. Again, easy number for Missouri and Illinois. 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Enjoying the great taste and health benefits of cottage cheese is easier than ever with Pro Pack Snack Cottage Cheese Cups from Prairie Farms. Each perfectly portioned cup is less than 100 calories, low in fat, and packed with 12 grams of protein, making it a smart, satisfying way to fuel your day. If you're at work, practice, or a cards game, Pro Pack is your tasty grab-and-go snack option. Locally made, naturally delicious. Find Prairie Farms Pro Pack Snack Cottage Cheese Cups at your local grocery store.
Zero Res wants to help you clean your home. Big summer savings right now. 3 rooms clean starting at $129. Plus, take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
5:36. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis Conservative.
All right, let's go out to the West Coast, Los Angeles, California. Our friend Brian Ping, St. Louis native, anchor, reporter, KNX Radio. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
Good. You got a lot of things going on out there. We're going to talk about the World Cup, too, and maybe the aftermath of the jungle primary. But look, one of the things that interests me, and you became our primary correspondent for these awful fires, a couple years ago. But now you have the guy that's accused of starting the Lockman fire, which then turned into the Palisades fire. And he's on trial right now, isn't he?
Yeah, Jonathan Rindernet. This man was arrested in October, so about 9 months after these fires happened, and nobody had heard anything about this guy. He was arrested in Florida. Apparently had been living in Southern California for about a month before the fires started, and it took them all that time until October to get anywhere close to any kind of cause. And so, so it looked like he was trying to start some kind of fire or shoot fireworks off around New Year's Eve because he was upset about capitalism, railed against the American system, was unhappy that he didn't have a New Year's date, apparently. All this was said in the opening statement, so we're dealing with somebody who was certainly not in a good frame of mind.
So on the evidence front, have they put a lot? Because, look, they have his cell phone data. They have the analysis of where the fire started. He claims, and I guess his defense attorneys say, look, he's just going up there and watching fireworks, and he's the one, they say, he called 911 immediately, right?
Yes, and the way that all develops is because that call comes in, the fire is smoldered. It's still smoldering under the surface then for several days before this major conflagration erupts, and then by January 7th, it was carried by those awful winds. And the matter here is putting two and two together. So we're going to have to go through making that connection between the two.
So one of the things that I read in the LA Times is that within seconds of the fire being detected on a surveillance camera, he did attempt to call 911. The call failed, but that location shows that he was just like 30 feet away from the fire at the time.
Yeah, that's certainly something that prosecutors are going to point to. It's going to be difficult to find really hard evidence that links him to the Palisades fire, which is the challenge for prosecutors here. But circumstantially, signs point to him being in a sensitive spot up there on that hill, wooded area, that if any fire were to start that was going to be kindled and roughed up by this wind, it would be in that area, and it would be him.
So you have, defendants are always convicted. Circumstantial evidence is not necessarily a bad thing. You can convict people on circumstantial evidence. But to your point, in this trial, look, there's, the defense is going to argue reasonable doubt because you don't have a witness, right? You don't have any physical evidence that necessarily links him to starting the fire. You have the lighter, the DNA, a lot of things. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think the guy's probably guilty, but getting him to be guilty in front of a jury of his peers without, reasonable doubt, that's another story, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because anybody who has experienced this, maybe served on a jury before, is in the legal profession, knows that the burden of proof is on the state. It's got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, innocent until proven guilty. So A, that he's start this fire here, but then B, can you connect A to B? This fire that he set, and then several days later that it could smolder all that time until it erupted on January 7th.
Brian, I just went to the LA Times, and it's just asking, I don't know if you know about this, but one of the top stories in the LA Times right now, where you are, is LA County DA claims 4 in 5 cases in $4 billion sex abuse payouts may be fraudulent. Are you covering that? That is a stunning number, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something that's coming up on our radar here, and because the city and county have been hit by so many of these kinds of lawsuits, and as you know, the city is $1 billion in debt and finding some ways to dig out of that hole. But it just seems like every day almost there's something new coming out. And that really is interesting.
I guess they said in April of last year they were going to pay $4 billion to settle more than 11,000 claims that arose from county-run juvenile halls, foster homes, and children's shelters. That's unreal. That is a big number.
Yeah.
$4 billion. First of all, it's a big number to settle. Second of all, if a lot of it was fraud, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, there is almost that rush to settle, and you got to wonder, what gets lost in that, because it could end up where, and if the story is true, then sadly, I believe it, because there is this rush to settle. We don't see this resolved beyond that usually. Usually doesn't go to trial because they just want to get it over with. But then that comes down to the taxpayers.
That's very interesting. All right, you guys ready for the World Cup out in L.A.?
Yeah, it's a fun atmosphere. I know a lot of people out here cheer for the Mexican team, so they're very happy that they won earlier today. And, we're going to have some of our people out there tomorrow to SoFi Stadium, where the action's going to be at 8 o'clock St. Louis time tomorrow. That game against Paraguay should be a really good game. They played that friendly last fall. They had that fight at the end of the game, so I wonder if that bad blood's going to carry over.
Well, let's hope so. That would make soccer more interesting for me. I will tell you that. How's the fallout from the jungle primary?
Yeah, it looks like kind of a split decision if you are, let's say, against the establishment in the state of California, because, Steve Hilton is moving on, and so that sets up that fight with him and Javier Becerra, which is going to be fascinating to me, because Becerra is going to have to, kind of carve out what he stands on, because so far he's just basically the safe choice and almost an empty vessel, you might say, as far as, he's the safe Democratic pick against a very eloquent Republican opponent. But, of course, the cards are always stacked against the Republican in a statewide election. And then in L.A., it took a week of vote counting, vote receiving, all the vote by mail, which has become normalized here for Spencer Pratt to get edged out of that second spot. So, mixed feelings there. Pratt absolutely has his fans out here, but at the same time, other people here are kind of breathing a sigh of relief because the AI ads, they're getting kind of tired of those, whether true or not. But he did spark a conversation. Spencer did about the state of things in LA, and a lot of it's great out here, but a lot of it's not great at all. The homelessness. Parts of the city in disrepair, and he brought that to a lot of people's attention. So if that's the legacy of his run, then it was not all for naught.
I don't understand, Brian, why anybody would want to repeat everything that happened after the fires. It was such a complete mess. And that Karen Bass was unable to pull any of it together. Like, it boggles my mind.
I know.
That people would consider doing that again.
Well, see, they didn't really have. Nobody wanted to go up against Bass. Everyone thought
Rick Caruso
was going to mount another challenge like he did the first time when he was first elected. But then, for reasons that he has still not really clearly outlined, he decided, no, I don't want it. I don't know if he felt that it was fighting a losing battle. I mean, he's a very wealthy man, but after a while, you're kind of chasing bad money or good money after bad, and you have to wonder what weighed in there. Of course, now he's a registered Democrat. You have to wonder whether he wants to get himself in good with the party and not challenge a Democratic incumbent. But Mayor Bass seemed like she was going to be unopposed virtually. We had some kind of candidates that flew under the radar, never mounted a serious challenge. Then Spencer Pratt gains a little bit of traction, and then what do you know? Nithya Raman, the councilwoman, she jumps in last minute at the day of the filing deadline and says, I'm in. So there's some head scratching going on about that. The members of the council, that are overwhelmingly Democrat, they see that as a backstabbing move. That Raman jumped in, that she did not show her loyalty to Bass.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be a fascinating dynamic heading into November.
Well, because they're actually aren't they friendly ordinarily together?
They were. I don't know about now,
right.
What it's like behind the scenes. But yeah, now Raman is in that position where she has to challenge basically part of the very system that she's a part of, because she's served on the city council. It wasn't her district that burned during the fire, but she was definitely part of that regime. And a lot of people find it hard to separate the mayor from each of the council members, who each have a lot of power here. So I think it's going to spark a conversation, and we're going to see fascinating who takes whose side here. And Bass would seem to have an enormous advantage at the get-go, but maybe some national attention gets showered on Raman, thinking maybe she's the Mamdani of the West Coast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because she's a Democratic socialist, I should point out.
Yeah, fascinating California politics. Hey, back here at home, I don't know if you've noticed, they lost today. The Cardinals won 7 in a row. They're hanging in there. They're still entertaining. So, the rebuild is going well.
I'm loving it, Mark. Yeah, I've been watching some of these games. Yeah, too bad they lost one today, but Juan Soto's a good player, so he's going to burn you if you leave one out over the plate.
I think he hit.
I did sneak away a little highlight while I was working out here today.
Did he get us for 2 today? Did Soto hit 2 home runs?
I know he hit that last one, that bomb there. But, hey, we still looked good at the plate there. And, I'm loving this team because they're the scrappy underdog factor.
We love it, too.
Aren't used to. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Brian Payne, KNX Los Angeles. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, the Cardinals, look, they had the game tied. They were up 4-3, and then the Mets tied it, and then Soto hit that home run to win it. But, look, they won the series. They won the last 7 out of 8.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Jeannie Sullivan wants to follow Freddie from Sue's News, so I'm sending her the link to that.
I want to follow that too, though. So did you send it to me?
No, but I will. Okay, if you are on the roads, it's not too bad. 44 has thinned out. They got rid of that accident. 6440 is still Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound is slow, 170 through Big Bend. And westbound traffic, some moderate volume out west, headed for 70. Now, westbound 70 looks pretty good. It's 64 that has the volume. And if you are headed into Illinois, there's still eastbound on 5564, a slow go headed for Exchange. That is all due to road work. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis. It's got the latest, most custom designs. It's right there in Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Just to clarify on the Cardinals, because the ball was just flying out of Citi Field today. Lars Nootbaar hit a home run, which was awesome. Jimmy Crooks hit a home run. And Soto only had one, but they had home runs. Actually, we got one from Burleson, too. Bo Bichette for the Mets hit one. Jared Young hit one. Nootbaar hit one. Jimmy Crooks hit one. And then Juan Soto hit the one to win. But listen, Soto had a great day. I mean, he was home run, a double, and an RBI. Nootbaar, home run, double, RBI, and a run. So Lars Nootbaar, we might trade him, Sue, because he's a lot of value. He's such a fan favorite. I hope they don't, right? We'll have to see.
97.1 FM Talk in action.
It's Mark Cox. Our friends at the USO Missouri are looking for volunteers. From Lambert Airport to Fort Leonard Wood, volunteers help provide comfort and support to those serving our country. Learn more at missouri.uso.org.
We had Matt Lawrence in the studio yesterday from Game Day Men's Health. He has 2 great locations in our region. One in Chesterfield. I've been to that location out at 6440. Olive and Clarkson. He took over the clinic in O'Fallon, Missouri as well. And it's a great, great clinic. They say it's built for every journey, and it's really been growing across the country. They do things different. That's why we call it the game day difference. Really top knowledgeable people, and they're offering you this free visit. So, guys, if you're interested in maybe testosterone therapy, maybe it's peptides and vitamins, medical weight loss, GLP-1s, ways to recover faster from sports injuries when you hurt yourself on the pickleball court, sexual wellness, ED solutions that are really, really good for you. They can do all of that at Game Day Men's Health. And again, you take advantage of the 1-hour visit. It's free. They give you the blood work for you, get your results, and then they come up with a customized plan. And that's why they call it the Game Day difference. They have their own pharmacy. The team and the staff are outstanding. It's a man cave environment. You're going to love it. Book an appointment today, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, clinics in O'Fallon, Missouri, and in Chesterfield. Tell them that we sent you in from 97.1 FM Talk. Game Day Men's Health.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Take your lawn from good to great with my friends at Lawn Enforcement. I'm talking expert lawn care services to keep your lawn in order. And here's what they'll do for you. Anybody can mow your grass. At Lawn Enforcement, they want to enhance your property. They'll do the mowing and the trimming. They'll fertilize and implement a weed control program and erosion control, which includes retaining walls if you need it. They can landscape, they can design and install your flowers, your shrubs, your trees, all of your hardscapes. No project is too big or too small for my friends at Lawn Enforcement. You can check them out online at yourlawnenforcement.com. So instead of envying your neighbor's lawn, your neighbors are going to be wishing they had the lawn and landscape that you have. Go ahead and enjoy your space. Be proud when you entertain your friends and your family. They've been in business for over 30 years. Be sure and tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to yourlawnenforcement.com.
City SC's Summer of Soccer, presented by Purina, kicks off on Friday, June 12th with the biggest soccer celebration in St. Louis. This festival-style watch party on Lou Fuse Plaza at Energizer Park is free for all and open to the public. Show up at 5 p.m. for live music, local food and drink, giveaways, special appearances, and a live viewing of USA vs. Paraguay on 5 massive screens. Learn more at summerofsoccerstl.com. Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is The Mark Reardon Show.
Okay, we have a Reardon Roundtable tomorrow. Former State Senator John Lamping will be on the panel. Ted House as well. In the 4 o'clock hour, Friday edition of Sue's News, Paul Hall on entertainment. We'll have Cusimano with sports taking us into the weekend as well. I've been kind of waiting for this one. I've had this audio for a couple of days, been waiting to play it, and I got to get it in here.
Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
So just offering some proof here that the crazy left-wing lunatic politicians are not something we solely have ownership here in the United States of America, because this week at a Science and Research Committee meeting, just think about that for a second, conservative Vincent Neil Ho in Canada was questioning someone named Mona Niemer. She is the chief scientific advisor in Canada, and I want you to hear how the questions kind of went down here.
So before you became chief science advisor, you were a molecular geneticist by training, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you know a thing or two about X and Y chromosomes. So I wanted to ask you, what is the definition of a woman?
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order. Yes, MP Janko.
It is Pride Month, and understanding Order 18, which prohibits personal attacks, insults, and offensive language. The accusation, where this question is going,
this is getting into debate.
Highly offensive.
It's highly offensive to ask someone who is the chief science advisor what a woman is. and they're unable, and this Danko guy, and afterwards he tweets absolutely disgusting anti-trans behavior by Vincent Halo during Pride Month, deliberately generating hatred, division, and bigotry, and he's proud of himself. Well, he should be proud of himself because you should be embarrassed that you can't offer a definition of a woman.
Getting into debate.
I'd ask the member to withdraw his comment.
MP Danko, this
Asking
is getting into
someone
debate.
what is a man or a woman is highly offensive.
I will deal with it.
Highly offensive.
MP Ho, I would request to be respectful of everybody. Yeah, please.
The census
MP Ho.
asked thank you.
MP Ho,
Thank you,
go
Madam
ahead.
Chair. Resuming, the census asked that question, what is your gender, what is your sex? So I just want to understand what your view is on this.
Point of order, Madam Chair. The
Mohammed?
witness is here in her capacity as Office of the Chief Science Advisor. Her opinion on her opinion on any matter as an individual is actually not relevant to her mandate. And so if the question is within the scope of her mandate, I would be interested to see if Mr. Ho could reframe the question, if he so wishes, within the context of her mandate as the Chief Science Advisor.
Her mandate is not, she's got a mandate. She can't answer what a freaking woman is, like Ketanji Brown Jackson during her Supreme Court hearings. This is, look, I think we all have friends that are lefties, right? But this is lunacy. And these people buy into this nonsense, and then they call it bigotry. By the way, like the Pride Month thing, did I mention this yesterday? Like, I got to find this comedian that did the bit. Like, you die for your country, you get one day, right? Father's Day, Mother's, you get one day, right? The president, if you're Washington or Lincoln, you get one day. But if you're gay or trans or bi or anything else in the alphabet mafia, man, you get a whole month. You get a month, and you get people in government positions calling you bigoted when you ask simple biological questions of someone who is supposed to be the chief science advisor. Just think about that for a minute. Have a great night. I'm looking forward to the hockey game. We'll talk tomorrow.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident reported on westbound 70 just past David Hochul Parkway. Look for some slow-moving traffic there. 70, though, is fine out of downtown. It just slows at Wentzville. 6440 looks pretty good as well. A little bit slow as you head toward Winghaven in pockets out through the 70 split. Southbound 270 is in good shape. We look pretty good on the Illinois side as well. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Well, if we can beat the weather, Dave Murray said between 7 and 9, so maybe I got to wait till tomorrow to go to Fritz's Frozen Custard, but this would be a great night to take my daughter, my wife. We take the puppy a lot of times. Olaf, my little dog, he's kind of annoying, so we have to leave him at home because he creates issues. But look, I go to the Valley Park location, which is amazing. They have a different flavor calendar in Valley Park than the other locations. So let me run down that first. In the West County location for tonight, the flavors would be, let me confirm what the date is. Sue, could you confirm what the date of the... It's the 11th. Cherry chocolate chip. Never had that one. That's nice. Oreo cheesecake tomorrow. Now, look, I love Dreamsicle, like from when I was a kid. That's on Saturday. Cookie dough on Sunday. For the other locations, and that includes the original location in Florissant, opened up way back in 1983. Tonight, Cool Cookie. Toffee Crunch tomorrow. Georgia Peach on Saturday. Cookie dough on Sunday. You can always check out the flavor of the day on fritzsfrozencustard.com. Hey, I mentioned Father's Day a couple of minutes ago. They have gift certificates where you can take Dad out that night. Every day they offer hand-dipped vanilla chocolate and the flavor of the day. A lot of specialty dessert items as well. Fritz's Frozen Custard.
When you're hurt in a rideshare accident, whether you're the driver or the passenger, the questions come fast. Who's responsible? What's next? At Kaufman Townsley, we understand how complicated rideshare accidents can be. We know the insurance companies, and we know how to hold them accountable. We're local, we're experienced, and we'll fight until you get the justice you deserve. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garages.